All right, y'all, we are back at it. We should be good up in here. Y'all know what to do. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. We're looking all crispy and clean on the screen. Shout out to everyone who's in the building. Hopefully y'all are doing well this Thursday morning. We're gonna get back into it. Appreciate y'all being here. Welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the ClassE Morning Show. I'm your host, ClassE Beats, at patreon.com/ClassE Beats. By the way, y'all make sure you go check it out. It's going to be a great day. We've got Karen retrial, the Karen retrial, day 3 coming up today. Oh my goodness. A lot of news going on today. We're already starting the day off interesting. Y'all know we're going to get the sidebar counter going. So but before we get into that, I gotta say what's up to the people, man. Shout out to everyone who's in here. We've got my awesome, amazing Amy is in the building. Shout out to Amy, Les Cleaver, my guy, Valencia, A-Fist, BSB, Kara Hampton, Maricela is back at it, Jay Buckmaster, Dennis is back in here, Nosy Rosie, good to see you. We've also got Libby22 at Sea Girl, Wendy's in here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Who else do we have? Tay Toom is back in the building. Good to see you, Tay. Who else? I know I missed a couple of y'all. Dawn is in here as well. I mentioned Amy. Taco Tuesday is back at it. Hopefully y'all are doing good. How's everybody feeling on this Tuesday? What do y'all think of this trial so far? This trial has been absolutely insane. Every single day there's been something going on, something new and exciting. It'll be interesting to see what happens today. Yesterday we got to hear the end of Carrie's interview. We got to hear from a couple other people as well. We got to hear from Peggy, got to hear from the cell phone guy. There's a lot going on. So we'll see. I'm thinking we're probably going to get Jen back on the stand today. We're going to get Jennifer up in here, but we'll have to wait and see. All right. Top of the morning to you as well. Good to see y'all in here. Let me see what we're doing. All right. So we're going to, I see y'all talking about the sidebars. All right. We're going to get the sidebar conversation going. I'm gonna make a range this time. So y'all, team 10 won yesterday. Shout out to team 10. There were exactly 10 sidebars yesterday. I could not believe it. I mean, y'all nailed it in the clutch. Team 5 almost had it. Y'all came through. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the show. If y'all could, please make sure you like the video on your way in. If you haven't yet, likes are free. And it really does help the show continue to grow. It takes less than 2 seconds and lets the algorithm know that you guys are enjoying the show, and it shares the video and the channel out with more people. All right, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. We're going to start the day off with an only fan. All right, let's go. Ooh, why am I all the way off the screen? Got me looking crazy over here. I got to fix this camera. Hold on a second. We got Judge Bev back in the building.
22117 Commonwealth versus Karen Reed.
There we go.
All right, so I was told counsel wanted to see me.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Just have one brief issue.
We got a pre-buy.
Okay.
It's not even a sidebar.
Experts in this case are permitted to watch testimony in order to prepare for rebuttal. We've asked for that
For rebuttal, like post
responding
for responding. Okay.
in our case in chief for both sides.
Okay. What's your position, Ms. Little? You want to?
Yes, we would.
All right. Mr. Brennan, is there any reason not to?
I need to give it some thought. I'm not willing to agree. I'll abide
With
by
the
whatever
side.
court thinks is fair.
So why don't you think about it? We'll address it later today. Okay. There's no expert testimony today, right?
It's not.
Okay.
No
All right,
expert
sure.
testimony,
Is that it?
so
Ready to bring the jury in? You wanted a ruling on the clip from yesterday?
I did.
All right, you can play it.
Thank you.
All right.
okay.
So we'll take a quick break.
Y'all were right. You said, was she gonna allow the clip in? Of course she did. All right, no surprise there. And that was the second clip they showed of Karen Reed, so no surprises there. All right, I've got the ranges in here, and you know what? I'm gonna give team 5 an edge. We'll go 1 to 9, 10 to 14, 15 to 19, or 20 plus. That would be insane. If we have 20 sidebars, I think I'm gonna end the live stream. All right, there better not be 20 sidebars. I'm getting out of here. Might need to go to the bar after that. All right, let's skip ahead and see if they are back in. Looks like Judge Bev's got the jury in here. And we're going to kick off day 3. Let's go.
Your attendance and you shall be heard. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts This court is in session. Please be seated.
I'm still going with Team 5.
22117, the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed.
All right, good morning again, counsel. Good morning, Ms. Reed. Good morning, jurors. I have to ask you those same 3 questions. Were you all able to follow the instructions and refrain from discussing this case with anyone since we were here yesterday? Everyone said yes and nodded affirmatively. Were you also able to follow the instructions and refrain from doing
I believe him.
independent research or investigation into this case? Everyone said yes and nodded affirmatively. Did anyone happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case since we left here yesterday? No. Everyone.
They weren't watching me. You know they were watching Emily D. Baker. Come on now. Our News 10 in Boston. NBC
Eddie, you
News
can step up
in
to the
Boston.
podium.
Here we go. Y'all know they watch the show.
Sir, I'll remind you, you're still under oath. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going 1 to 9 too. We got the Mr. Lip Smacker back up in here, the paramedic. Shout out to our first
Yesterday, you
responders.
testified that when Karen Reed was brought to the hospital,
Does Melanie have a lot of
she
people
didn't
watching?
want to get into a hospital Johnny, and she didn't want to give a urine sample. Do you recall that testimony?
I do.
It was clear to you
Melanie's
that
got a
her
lot of people
reluctance
watching.
to cooperate at that time was because she very much wanted to check on John's progress and status at the hospital, correct?
No, I don't believe that to be the case.
Well, you testified before the grand jury regarding this matter 3 years ago, didn't you?
I don't believe I said that she was
I
reluctant.
didn't ask you that question. You testified before the grand jury
Jeez.
3 years ago, didn't you?
I testified before the grand jury 3 years ago.
You were under oath then, as you're under oath today, correct?
Correct.
You swore to tell the truth.
I am telling the truth.
You swore to tell the truth in 2022 before the grand jury, did you not?
I did.
That was less than 3 months after you brought Karen Reed to the hospital, didn't you?
Yeah.
And your memory of what happened at the hospital was very good in April of 2022, right?
As good as today.
Your memory in April
We'll see.
of 2022 was very good, wasn't it?
It was very good as it is today.
Okay, so you want to add the as it is today, despite the fact that you weren't asked that question. Is that right?
Objection.
Sustained.
All right.
Don't be
One question by
argumentative,
Mr.
counsel.
Lally at the
Relax.
grand jury. You were asked the following question.
Jeez.
So what, if any, interaction did you have with her, meaning Ms. Reed, at the hospital once you were there? You remember that question, right?
I do.
And your answer was, so we, after that, I helped escort her down to, they call it the psych hallway, where they have rooms set up for psychiatric patients for their evaluation. And then she was unhappy that she wasn't able to see him, meaning John. And she kept trying to. She didn't want to get into a hospital Johnny. She didn't want to, I believe, give a urine sample. She was not, the nurses were asking her to do certain things that every patient has to do, and she was not cooperating with them. Do you remember that answer?
I do.
So
He was
3 years
struggling
ago,
yesterday, too.
When you testified about this issue of giving a urine sample, you testified under oath that you believed that she didn't want to give a urine sample, correct?
Correct.
Yesterday, 3 years later, you testified with certainty that she didn't want to give them, right?
Yeah, she was giving them a hard time about having to give a urine sample.
Right. No, I'm asking you about your testimony yesterday in contrast to the grand jury.
Focus, brother.
To the extent that I
Testimony.
ask yes or no question, I'd like yes or no answers.
So
okay?
no instructions to the witness, Ms.
Your
Giannetti.
Honor,
Ask
may the
a
witness be
question.
instructed to answer the question yes or no if it calls for a yes or no question. Answer.
Oh, man.
Answer the question that's asked of you, okay?
Okay.
So go ahead, ask a question.
You testified yesterday that she didn't want to give a urine sample without saying it was your belief that she didn't want to give one, correct?
Correct.
In any case, were you aware that when she was asked to give a urine
Shout out to
sample,
Mary Sella.
that Ms. Reed had gotten her
Wow.
period and did
Thank
not
you.
have a tampon?
I was aware she was on her period, yes.
You're also aware that when somebody is brought to the hospital for a Section 12, they have no privacy. Isn't that right?
They have medical privacy.
It's like you're getting arrested.
Either the tech or the nurse would be with the patient at all times.
Okay. With them at all times, observing them at all times,
correct.
correct?
So they wouldn't be, she wasn't in like a hallway open to the public.
Understood, sir, but she also, when I said privacy, what I was asking is, she was not allowed to go to the bathroom alone to give a urine sample, correct?
She was a psychiatric patient.
Right.
That makes sense.
So she would have to use the bathroom in front of hospital personnel or some medical personnel with people watching her while she was on her period with no tampon, correct?
I would understand that to be true.
All right. And you're aware that she did cooperate and eventually give a blood sample as well, correct?
I'm not aware of a blood sample, but urine sample, yes.
She did give the urine sample.
Correct.
All right. Now, in your testimony yesterday,
That's
you
tough.
discussed the topic of your memory of what Karen Reed may have asked you about John surviving in the snow with light clothing. You remember those questions?
I remember asking about not having a jacket, correct?
Now, starting at the end of the day, when
So
I
much for yes or no
cross-examined
answers.
yesterday, I asked you about that topic, and I said to you, you mentioned something about hypothermia, that you assumed you may have been dealing with a hypothermia situation, and your answer was, well, she said that he had been out in the snow without a jacket for many hours, correct?
Correct.
But before I cross-examined you at the end of the day yesterday, you previously testified 3 times about this topic, correct?
Uh-oh.
I believe it would be the grand jury and the previous trial.
Right, and direct examination when Mr. Brennan was asking you questions before I stood up, correct?
Okay, yes.
Let's start with the first time you testified about this topic back in 2022. That was, again, less than 3 months after you had a conversation with Ms. Reed at the scene on January 29th, correct?
Correct.
Her statements and questions to you at the scene were fresh in your mind in April of 2022, correct?
Correct.
In April of 2022, before the grand jury, Mr. Lally asked you, quote, what, if any, questions did she ask you regarding hypothermia? Do you remember that question?
I do.
I
Your
remember.
answer was, she was just wondering if he could have survived outside in the cold even though he didn't have a jacket on. Do you remember giving that answer?
I do.
Nowhere in that answer, in 2022, less than 3 months after these events, do you attribute the words, quote, many hours, end quote, in the snow to Ms. Reed, correct?
Yes, I was not asked to
I'm not
qualify
asking
it.
for an explanation, sir. I'm asking for an answer.
All right, so he was answering you, Mr.
My
Yannetti.
question called for a yes or no answer. Nowhere in your answer in 2022
Uh-oh.
do you attribute the words
Coming
many
in hot.
hours in the snow to Ms. Reed. Yes or no?
No, I did not say that at that point.
Nowhere in your answer in 2022 do you testify that Ms. Reed told you he had actually been in the snow for many hours, correct?
She did at that.
Sir, I'm asking you about your testimony.
Exactly.
So let him answer the question.
Let me ask it again. Nowhere in your answer
Dang.
in 2022 did you testify that Ms. Reed told you he had actually been in the snow for many hours, correct?
In 2022, I testified that
Oh, he's getting frustrated now.
I was just told to be brief and give generalizations. She quantified many hours in the snow when we were in back of the
Let me
ambulance.
try this again,
So,
sir. because
Mr. Yannetti, you're just saying 2022. Get to a date
Of course,
and a
yes.
place.
April of 2022,
Come on,
okay,
bro.
before the grand jury.
Just tell the truth,
Question
man.
again, and I'm still seeking a yes or no answer from you, okay? Nowhere in your answer in April of 2022, before the grand jury, did you testify under oath that Ms. Reed told you that John had actually been in the snow for many hours, correct?
Not in 2022 of April, no.
Okay. The next time you testified under oath was last year in 2024, correct?
Correct.
During that testimony, Mr. Lally asked you, oh, by the way, so 2022 is no mention of many hours, right?
I did not, and I was told to be brief on the grand jury stand.
But again, no mention of
Right.
many hours
Why?
in 2022. Okay. Now, 2024, last year, Mr. Lally asked you, so firefighter Whitley, at some point, specific to your conversations with the defendant, Ms. Reed, can you describe sort of her demeanor or any observations you made in relation to that as you were speaking with her? And your answer was, yes. She was very upset. She kept asking if there was any chance. She kept asking us if we knew if the person ambulance 1 had transported was alive or dead, and we could not speak to that. She asked if somebody could be alive in the snow without a jacket for many hours, correct?
Correct.
So 2022, there was no mention of many hours. 2024, over time, now that's the first time that you mention the words many hours in your testimony regarding this case, correct?
Correct.
All right? And when you testified last year, you testified still that she was asking you a question about surviving in the snow, correct?
Correct.
So then we come to yesterday on direct examination. Do you recall that Mr. Brennan yesterday asked you, before you left, were you having any conversations with the defendant, and you answered yes? Recall that yesterday?
Is that at the hospital?
I'm asking you yesterday, do you recall Mr. Brennan asking you, before you left essentially the scene, were you having any conversations with the defendant, and your answer was yes?
You're talking about, Lee, I'm just trying to make sure we're talking about the same instance. Are we talking about when we left the hospital or when we left Fairview Road?
When you were at Fairview Road, leaving Fairview Road. We're talking about the same subject of what Ms. Reed supposedly told you or asked you. Okay? Mr. Brennan went into that with you.
So on the way to, you're talking on the way to the hospital in terms of left, when we left.
Well, before you left. He meant before you left the scene.
Okay, no, I'm just trying to clarify.
Again, it's the same conversation, Mr. Whitley. I'm not trying to trick you.
Mr. Yannetti, he just
Boy,
asked
they're
for a
going
point of
back and
reference.
forth
It's
like
clear.
crazy.
Now go.
Understood. And Mr. Brennan said, can you share with the jury what those conversations were about? And your answer was, so we were talking, she was upset. She kept asking if there was any chance her husband could be alive, even sitting outside in the snow without any coat for many hours. Do you recall that answer that you gave yesterday on direct examination?
Yes.
And that was the first time that you mentioned that she said, supposedly, or asked supposedly, about him sitting outside in the snow, correct?
I was just using phrases generally speaking.
Not my question.
I wasn't at that point I was paraphrasing. I was not speaking verbatim to what she said.
Let's try that again. That was the first time that you mentioned that she claimed or asked that he was sitting outside, correct?
It could have been sitting, laying, being.
Let's try it a third time.
So
Was that-
just ask the question, not let's try it.
Sure.
Let's try it.
Was that the first time that you testified under oath that Ms. Reed said or asked about him sitting outside?
Are you asking me to clarify whether she used the
I'm not
word
asking you
sitting?
to clarify anything. I'm asking you whether
Just tell the
that
truth,
was
man.
the first time yesterday during direct examination that you mentioned that she asked about him sitting outside.
I'm sorry. I am very confused because I'm trying to figure out if he was being outside, sitting outside.
I'm asking you about Ms. Reed's statements, sir. That's
Just
all I've been asking you about. Her
answer the
statements
question.
to you and your testimony about her statements to you.
If it's the truth,
Was
it shouldn't be this
yesterday on
difficult.
direct examination, the first
Come on,
time
man.
that you testified under oath that Ms. Reed mentions the words sitting outside.
I don't know.
All right.
I'm just using. She might have said laying outside, being outside, outside.
Okay, so when you testified yesterday before this jury
Yes.
that she mentioned the words sitting outside, you're now saying that that might not have been accurate, correct?
It could have been a different word.
Okay. But you didn't say it could have been a different word yesterday. You just left it as sitting outside, correct?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I said, sitting.
All right, so now we get from, the grand jury with many hours mentioned, to questions about many hours, to sitting outside, to let's talk about what you said on cross-examination.
I object.
Okay, the objection sustained.
Sure.
What's the objection there?
On cross-examination, your words were, she said
Argumentative,
he
probably.
had been out in the snow without a jacket on for many hours.
It's tough to
Correct?
remember lies.
She had asked if he had been outside, if there was any chance he could be alive, even though he was outside without a jacket for many hours.
So it always was a question, correct?
It was a question.
She never said what you said on cross-examination yesterday, which was she said that he had been out in the snow without a jacket on for many hours. That was not a declarative statement by Ms. Reed, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow that. Was that a declarative statement by Ms. Reed?
She asked if he could be alive without a jacket in the snow for many hours.
So again, it was a question, sir.
She asked me, and we were just trying to give her hope in terms of telling stories of hypothermic patients that could survive outside in the snow.
Okay, is there any
Boy.
redirect?
Briefly.
Okay.
That's rough. That was a rough one. Jeez. He don't recall.
When you were called to the grand jury, was the testimony as in-depth and as long as it is in front of this jury?
No, not even close.
When you're recounting your memories of what happened, do you memorize word for word what you've said in the past?
Objection.
As to that form, it's sustained.
When you're recounting
Feel a
the
sidebar.
past,
No sidebars.
do you record your statements personally?
Objection.
I'm going to let that word. Do you record your statements?
No.
Next question.
When you testified in the grand jury, page 90, line 15, and you said the defendant told you, I'm upset if he dies, I want to die. And then you later testify last year, and you said, if my husband dies, I want to die. Do you notice the little differences between those phrases?
I do.
Is that you making up words?
No.
Is that you trying to help a case?
Objection.
As to form, that's sustained.
Are you inventing facts?
No.
Sir, when you were recounting what happened that day, are you using your best memory?
Objection.
When you were asked by the defendant,
Morning, Shauna.
about how long, or someone out in the snow without a jacket for many hours, do you remember that conversation with her?
I do.
Where were you during that conversation?
We were in the back of the ambulance.
Do you remember it distinctly?
I remember it distinctly. She was looking at me.
When you tried to give her hope and comfort, and you told her stories about other situations where people, maybe children, have fallen through the ice and had hypothermia, did you have that conversation with her in trying to comfort her?
I did.
Do you remember that conversation?
I do.
Did you necessarily share those conversations with the grand jury?
I don't recall if I did or I didn't.
Did you ever write that in your report?
No.
Is it something you typically put everything in your report?
No, we do not write. Generally, we only write patient complaint, what happened, and what they did, not their opinions or anything like that to what's going on.
Do you have any interest in the outcome of this case?
I do not.
How long have you been a firefighter for?
Since March of 2006.
March.
EMT since November of 2002.
Over 20 years.
Correct.
You said that you live near Kerry Roberts?
I do.
You've been to a block party for the kids where you've brought the fire engine down?
I do.
I'm going to allow it.
When you're at that block party, do you ever step out and have secret meetings with Kerry Roberts trying to corroborate some conspiracy on their behalf?
No.
I'm going
No.
put your career on the line?
Objection.
No further questions.
Any follow-up, Mr. Yannetti?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Firefighter Whitley, you are all set, sir.
No more sidebars. Bars. I said it wrong. Who do we have next? Jen. The state calls Jennifer McKay.
Clip 5, Your Honor.
Oh, we're playing a clip. We got transition videos. I've never seen this in a trial. Every trial is something different. Oh, Lone Wolf, get out of here. You're going to vote and you're going to like it.
And his mother leans over the kitchen island and says to me, I think it looks like he got hit by a car. It looks like he got hit by a car.
All right, who's your next witness, Mr. Brennan?
Next witness is Jean DeMoulis.
It's not Jen.
Okay.
Oh, man. Here we go. Already? Dang, we're only 20 minutes in. We got a sidebar. Is this a sidebar? Did he say sidebar? Hold on a second. I don't know if this...
Okay. Okay.
No, I don't know. He just said can we approach. He didn't technically say sidebar, so I don't think it counts. Let me read some of these super chats. While we got our first sidebar, look at my guy, Les Cleaver up in here with the 5-bomb. Says, God bless each and every one of you. Have a great day. Amen. Thank you, Les Cleaver. Also, Mary Sella coming through with the 50 bomb. Oh my goodness. She says, thank you, ClassE and Amy, for all your hard work. Also for the amazing community. Free Karen Reed. Mary Sella, thank you for the love and support and for dropping the 50 bomb. I appreciate you being here, being a member for so long, and always showing up and showing love every time you're in the chat. So thank you. Thank you for the 50 bomb. And I got to give you another round of applause for that. I appreciate every single time that you show support. And she didn't stop there. She also dropped 5 memberships. All right. Shout out to Mary Sella in here showing major love this morning. If you got a membership from her, please make sure that you say thank you. All right. The transition videos like it's a cutscene in a video game. Yeah, for real. All right, fine. Kel Bell is in here. The Honorable Attorney Kel Bell says, yeah, she's not likable, but not a killer. Who are you referring to, Kel Bell? You talking about Jennifer?
Thank you.
Boy, I timed that perfectly. I got these sidebars on point.
You solemnly swear the evidence given to the court and jury in the case now hearing to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Who do we have here? Oh, Karen. Yeah.
May I proceed?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Jean DeMulis. I am the general manager at CF McCarthy's in Canton.
I'm going to ask you to keep your voice up, if you would, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
You said
Are
you're
there
the
any
general
black people in
manager
Massachusetts?
at CF McCarthy's?
In Canton, yes.
In Boston.
How long have you been the general manager at CF McCarthy's in Canton
wondering.
for?
For 6 years.
Can you briefly describe for the jury what CF McCarthy's
What's up,
is?
Peter?
It is a restaurant and bar.
She said, nope.
At CF McCarthy's, is there a video surveillance system inside?
Yes.
Who owns that video surveillance system?
CF McCarthy's.
Are you
here we
familiar
go.
with the video system?
Yes.
Have you ever looked at it before?
Yes.
Do you employ people to help the establishment with the video system?
No.
You maintain it on your own?
Yes.
At some point, were you visited by somebody from the Massachusetts State Police?
Yes.
Were you asked whether or not they could view some of your video surveillance?
Yes.
Do you remember the date? Not the date they came to visit you, the date that they were looking for.
I believe it was January 28th, 27th, 28th of 2022.
Around that time?
Yes.
Did you allow access to the video system?
Yes.
Did you oversee that access to the video system?
Yes.
Was it a state police officer?
It was two state police detectives.
Do you remember their names?
I remember one of the detectives' names. I do not remember the other detective.
The one you remember, could you share the name?
It was Detective Buchnick, Yuri.
Detective Yuri Buchnick.
Yes.
At some point, was he allowed to download information from the surveillance system?
Also,
Yes.
there's no
Did you watch
blacks
him do
in,
that?
Yes, I
in
did.
Boston.
At some point, have you been able to briefly
Thank
look
you,
at
Peter.
some of that download?
Yes.
And does it appear to be a fair and accurate depiction of the surveillance or the area of your bar?
Yes.
Move to introduce.
Okay, there's no objection, Ms. Giannetti.
There is no objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 18, so marked.
Thank you.
Your Honor, may I play just a small portion?
Sure.
Thank you. Ma'am, I'm going to show you just some random shots from this video, but I want to know if you recognize it. Is this the inside of C.F. McCarthy's?
Oh, it's the
I'm not
bar.
asking
We
for
gotta
any
have a
particular
bar.
knowledge or information about that night. I just want to know if is this a fair and accurate depiction of what C.F. McCarthy's looks like?
Yes.
Has there been any substantive, significant changes to the inside of that establishment
No.
since this video was taken?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Gilman. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Okay.
That's it?
No questions.
All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So is the defense going to argue that that's not the same bar, or the bar has changed? Why did they bring this witness up here? It must have something to do with the surveillance footage. He's like, is this what it looks like? Yeah. Okay, thanks. Have a great day. What? 403. Can we get some 403 objections in here? And shout out to Peter Ortiz. Gifted 10 memberships. If y'all got a membership from Peter, say thank you. Authenticate the
Next
video.
witness, Mr.
Okay.
Brennan.
Thank you. Bridget Meehan.
I mean, did they really? That's what I'm saying, though. Did they really need to call a witness in there to say that, to authenticate it? Get a written statement or something. Oh, look, we got a blackie. There's one, y'all. Oh my gosh, we found her. The one sister in Boston. Hallelujah. Apparently, Boston has a 20% black population. I've been in Atlanta too long.
May I proceed?
Yes.
And I can say
Good
that. Y'all
morning.
can't say that.
Morning.
Could you introduce yourself to the jury, please?
My name is Bridget Meehan.
Where do you work?
I work at the Waterfall Bar and Grill in Canton.
The name maybe tells us a little bit about it, but could you just share a couple
I can
lines
say
of what the
blackie. Y'all
Waterfall
can't
Bar and
say.
Grill is?
Y'all can't say that.
It's a small family-owned business in Canton. It's in a mixed condo complex.
Are you involved in the
Where's she
ownership
from?
of it?
Yes.
How long have you been involved with the Waterfall Bar and Grill?
We've been there approximately 10 years.
Do you help run?
She sounds
the
Irish.
Yes, I do.
And you were running the establishment back on January 28, 2022? At some point, were you asked or visited to see if your establishment had video surveillance of the inside?
I was.
Does your establishment have video surveillance of the inside?
It does.
Do you have a camera and a server?
Do I have? Yes, I do.
Did you provide video surveillance to the Massachusetts State Police from that night, January 28, 2022?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'd like to move this in as an exhibit, please.
Okay. Ms. Giannetti?
No objection.
Thank you.
Exhibit 22.
With the court's permission?
Yes.
Thank you. Ma'am, I'm going to show you just a brief clip.
Yeah, she sounds Irish for sure.
Okay, stop, please.
Yes,
you
I
see
do.
that video?
I get half
Is-
my black
does that
card.
depict the inside
Amy.
of McCarthy's? I'm sorry, the Waterfall?
Yes.
I'm trying to switch establishments on you. Back on January 28, 2022, Did that look the way it looked then?
Yes.
Has there been any significant changes inside since then?
No.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay.
No questions.
All right, Ms. Meehan, you.
Thank you.
And I'll just step coming down.
Knocking these things out. I have not seen a black person with a
All right, your next witness, Mr.
Boston
Brennan.
accent.
Commonwealth calls Mike Camerano.
So back in the 1990s, Atlanta had a population, the black population was 67%. Now it's at 47%. Blackie. Who said Blackie? Who said that?
Court adjourned in the case now adjourns to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Take this stand.
Good morning.
Who said Blackie? That's terrible.
May I?
Please.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Hi, good morning. My name is Michael Camerano.
Mr. Camerano, can I ask how old you are? I'm sorry.
Spell your last name.
Camerano.
And so if you could either move the microphone down a little bit or speak up, or maybe a combination of both, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Could I ask you how old you are?
48,
Where do you live?
Canton, Mass.
How long have you lived in Canton for?
Me and my wife have lived there for 20 years. Me and my wife have lived there for 20 years. We have 2 children.
Yeah, he looks like he's
How
about
old
to
are you,
cry or he
sir?
has to go to the
My
bathroom
daughter
or
is
something.
17. My son is 14.
Did you know John O'Keefe?
Yes.
How did you know him?
I met John for the first time at his sister's they had a benefit for his sister in 2013. I met John there for the first time. And then years later,
Brownie.
our kids got involved with sports together, and they became very close. As they became close, I became very close with John and his family.
Yo, get this man an
Was your daughter
oxygen
close
mask.
with John's niece?
Yes.
Was your son close?
This is I hate to use this. It's giving panic attack. Somebody help this man out. It's making me nervous. Is he having a panic attack right now?
Yes.
How did you know him?
I met John for the first time at his sister's
He's making me nervous.
they had a benefit for his sister in 2013. I met John there for the first time. And then years later, our kids got involved with sports together, and they became very close. As they became close, I became very close with John and his family.
Was your daughter close with John's niece?
Yes.
Was your son close with?
Yes.
Did you spend a lot of time together through sports?
His breathing's
socially?
really shallow.
Yes, we did.
I want to take you forward to January 28th of 2022.
Okay.
Do you remember that day?
Yes.
Had you, without any discussion of what might have been said, did you have any discussions with John that day?
Yes.
Did you have a plan?
Yes, we were communicating.
At some point, did you decide that you were going to spend some time or go meet John?
Yes. That Friday, my daughter and his daughter, they got acceptance letters to school. So we wanted to get them together so they could enjoy the time together. And, just, go over like how it would be so much fun, something new, different. Yeah, so we were going to meet up after I got out of work.
Was your daughter planning to go to a new school?
Yes.
Where?
Bishop Fan,
And how about his niece?
same.
They both got accepted to
They
the
both
same
got
school?
accepted to the same school.
Was it a celebratory
Nice.
mood?
Yes.
Did you have a plan to bring the children together so they could celebrate?
Yes, we did.
And then separately you were going to meet John and celebrate?
Correct.
Where did you drop your daughter off?
I dropped my daughter off at John. I went into John's. I was at the house with John and the girls, and we had a little celebration. Talked
Relax,
about
brother.
how nice it's going to be, fun, change, different, meet new people.
And you celebrated at John's house before you went out?
Correct.
After the celebration with your children, did you and John leave?
Yes.
During that celebration, was there anybody there other than you, John, and your 2 daughters?
No. No. Karen was not there.
Was there anybody else there?
No, just the 2 girls, myself and John.
What was the weather like that night?
It was cold. It was not snowing yet.
Was there an expectation for
Yes,
the
there was
next
an
morning?
expectation. Yes,
And what was that?
that there was going to be a big snowstorm coming in.
A storm was coming.
Yes.
Storm is coming.
When you left, did you leave in a separate car than John, or did you leave together?
No, we left together. John got in my car, and we were leaving. We're going to leave.
Where were the girls?
They get in the
girls
car
in the
and go
house,
to
stayed
the
in
bar.
house.
They were staying at John's house?
Yes, correct.
Where did you go?
We went to CF McCarthy's.
When you got there, did you know anybody who was there other than you and John?
At that time, no.
Did you spend time at C.F. McCarthy's?
Yes.
Were you drinking?
Yes.
Was John drinking?
Yes.
Alcohol?
Yes.
How long were you there for?
A couple hours.
While you were there, did anybody come and meet you that you knew?
Yes.
Who?
A friend, and then Karen came in.
The friend.
Yes.
Dang, why you look at Karen like
Kurt.
that?
And
Jeez.
then how long after you first got there was it that the defendant arrived?
I would like to say within an hour, so not 100% sure.
You said back home it was a celebratory mood. Was it still a celebratory mood at McCarthy's?
Yes.
When the defendant arrived, did she spend time with you and John?
I talked briefly to her, and her and John were mostly talking.
Okay. You didn't see any issues?
No.
It was a normal night,
Seemed to be, yes.
as far as you could see?
Yes.
And you saw John drinking.
Yes.
Did you see the defendant drinking?
I saw her with a glass, yes.
Did you leave at the same time that John left?
No, I did not.
When you left, was John still at the establishment?
Yes.
When you left, was the defendant still with him?
Yes.
Why did you leave?
I left because I got a phone call. My son was playing hockey in the backyard, and he got hit with a stick and
Yeah.
lost his tooth.
Ah, classic
Where
hockey
did you
move.
go?
I went to my son's friend's house.
Do you know about what time that was when you went to see your son?
I would like to say 9:30, in between 9:30 and 10.
You didn't go back to McCarthy's that night, did you?
No, I did not.
After you helped your son, where did you go next?
I went to pick up my daughter, Madeline,
Did you go?
at John's house.
Did you go in John's house?
No, I did not.
When you got to John's house, did your daughter come out?
No. We went to the side door
Okay.
and rang the doorbell.
And then what happened?
And then my daughter came to the door.
Where did you go?
From there, we left and went home.
When you went home, had the weather changed at all?
It was cool. It might have been flurrying at that time.
No accumulation?
No.
You got home?
Yes.
Did you do anything significant when you got home?
Put the kids to bed, my son, and no, I went to bed.
What's the next thing you remember happening?
Waking up to, I missed some phone calls
Who were the missed phone calls from?
from my wife and Karen.
What did you do?
I called my wife.
After speaking to your wife, what did you do?
I got in my car and drove to John's house.
About what time was this?
In between maybe 5 and 6 a.m.
What was your mood at that point?
I was panicked.
Why did you go to
I called it. This guy, he looks like a panicker, man. What were you wearing that day? Were you happy? Were you sad? Did you take your keys? Did you have your wallet? What were you watching on TV that night? What are we doing here?
What was your mood at that point?
Yeah, they can. It's clear they cannot stand Karen.
I was panicked
Why did you go to John's house?
because I went to get Kaylee.
Did you know if she was alone?
Yes,
How long did it take you to get to John's house?
maybe 5-7 minutes.
When you get to John's house, what do you see?
I pull in the driveway. I see that the garage door is open. I go in through the garage door. I don't know if Kaylee was standing there, if the door, she came out the door, and I asked her, if she needed anything, she could get in my car and stay warm.
When you first saw Kaylee, what did she look like?
She looked distraught.
Did you try to help her?
Well, I think I just said everything will be okay. Yeah.
Did she come with you?
Yes.
Where are you going?
To my house.
So what happens?
So we go to my house, and my daughter's up, and the two girls they were hanging downstairs, just hanging out, just being kids. And then, I don't know, a couple hours later, maybe, Paul called me and asked me to bring Kaylee home.
Well, he's not gonna make it. He's not gonna make it.
Yes.
You did or didn't?
At that point, I did when Paul had told me.
So what do you do?
Asked Madeline and Kaylee if I'd say, Madeline, will you come for the ride? I don't say anything to Kaylee, and we get in the car, and I start heading back to John's house.
And you didn't say anything to Kaylee?
No, I didn't. I just said everything will be all right.
He's definitely gonna cry. He's already
had a
crying.
feeling.
Why do you say that?
She didn't want to go home.
Dang, that's tough.
So what happens next?
So I pull in the driveway, and I remember Paul and Papa standing. I think they were standing at the side door, and we just embraced.
Did you stay?
No, not long. No.
Did you go back?
I was to the house. I went back to my house.
Did you go back to John's house?
I did the next day. Yes, I was there.
When you went back, were there people there?
Yes,
Many?
there was people coming and going.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
I respect it. Take two. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Camerano.
Good morning.
This is quite painful for you to
Clearly.
remember the events of January 28th, is it not?
Yes,
You were very close with your friend John O'Keefe, correct?
I was close with them. Yes,
And you actually met Karen Reed through John, correct?
correct.
After meeting Karen, you spent a good amount of time with both Karen and John, correct?
Correct.
As of January 28th of 2022, you had known Karen for maybe about a year or so,
Sounds correct.
and you'd see them especially on Fridays, correct?
Correct.
That would be sort of the day that you get together with both of them often?
Yes,
And of course, your children spent a lot of time with John and Karen, right?
correct.
You entrusted both Karen and John with your kids.
Yes.
Sometimes your kids would even go on vacation with Karen and John, right?
Oh, wow.
They did go to the Cape, yes.
Sometimes you'd see Karen without John at your house or on a ball field.
Correct.
And your daughter in particular would sometimes spend time with just Karen without John, correct?
Correct.
Your daughter would sometimes go over to Karen's
That's
house
tough.
in Mansfield when she lived there, correct?
Correct.
And
That
obviously,
probably
when
makes it
your daughter would
worse for
go
him.
to Karen's house in Mansfield, Karen would be the one in charge of caring for her, correct?
Correct.
And you were fine with that because you liked and you trusted Karen, right?
Correct.
And in your view, Karen was very good with kids, right?
Correct.
But you also had the opportunity to see Karen and John together, right?
Yes.
You saw how they interacted.
I can see
with
that
each
from
other
Karen. She looks like she
over
would be
that
good with
year period that you knew Karen.
kids.
Yes.
You saw how they got along,
Yes.
and you never observed any arguments or bickering, correct?
I mean, they argued and bickered.
You had previously testified that you wouldn't even call it arguing, you'd just call it banter, right?
Yes, I mean, he would, no, he would get upset or like over if she bought expensive things for the kids.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we will get to that. That would be the one thing that John would complain about, Karen buying like very nice things for his niece and nephew, right?
Correct.
Or he'd complain if, Karen was taking his niece and other girls to get their nails done, like extravagances like that.
Correct.
And one specific memory you have is when Karen bought his niece a very expensive sweater, right?
Correct.
And you recall John telling you that he wished that she hadn't done that because he considered that to be spoiling the girl, correct?
Yes.
But it was very clear to you from your observations that Karen really, really liked John. I'm sorry, John really, really liked Karen, right?
Sustained.
He certainly never told you or even suggested he was thinking about or planning to break up with Karen, right?
No.
Okay.
So with regard to that Friday night, January 28th, sir, the plan was for you and John to go to McCarthy's to have some drinks because there was a storm coming in, correct? And because of the celebration of the girls getting into Bishop Fen?
Well, yeah, we were going out. It wasn't a continuation of the celebration of the girls. We were going out to have a few beers as guys.
Okay. And when you were
Yes.
leaving the house, John asked you to move your car, right?
Correct.
Where was your car when John asked you to move it that night?
Actually, I backed up my car. We were leaving the driveway, and John asked me to stop so he could move his car.
I see. And he wanted you to move your car because of the storm coming in, and he wanted Karen to be able to pull her car into the garage, right?
Correct.
And that was really thoughtful of him, wasn't it?
Yes. Extremely.
And it showed you that he was being chivalrous toward Karen that night, right?
Yes.
He didn't want Karen to be out in the heavy snow later when she returned to his house during the expected blizzard, right?
Sustained.
You took from that there was an expectation that Karen would be coming back to his house, correct?
Objection.
You had no inkling that day that anything was wrong between Karen and John, correct?
No.
Everything seemed fine between the two of them, right?
Yes, he did mention though that night that he didn't understand why Karen had a plumber go to the house.
Because he had somebody that could have done that work instead of paying for the plumber, right?
Well, yes.
Okay.
And
But in any case, the plan was for Karen to meet up with the two of you, right?
yes.
And she did show up to McCarthy's at about 8:30 p.m. or so?
Yes, I guess, if
And-
that's the time.
And you saw an affection.
I'm sorry, what was the answer that you
If
said?
that was the time, I'm not sure about the timeline.
Okay. It was sometime after you'd
Yes.
gotten there. Right.
Correct.
But you do remember when Karen arrived, there was an affectionate greeting between John and Karen, right?
Yes.
You saw them kiss, right?
Yes.
You saw John put his arm around Karen,
Correct.
and you saw that Karen sort of nestled into his embrace?
Correct.
And when she did that, that's when he kissed her, correct?
Yes.
They were
They
in
seemed
love.
happy to see each other, did they not?
They did.
That night they were affectionate,
Yes.
laughing,
Yes.
happy,
Yes.
like a normal couple?
Yes.
No arguments?
No.
You witnessed no bickering, no tension, correct?
No.
And during the month before John's passing, that January of 2022, you observed their relationship in your presence to be normal, caring, and affectionate, right?
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir.
These are great questions to ask this type of
You were asked
character-ish
a number of
witness.
questions about the relationship between John and Karen that night. Do you know what was going on behind closed doors, other than what you saw?
Oh, come on.
I'll allow it.
No.
Why is she allowing that BS?
Do you know whether or not they texted each other that day?
No. That day, no.
Do you know whether or not there was any arguments that day?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Not to my. No. I don't know if they were. Well, I don't know if they were arguing over the plumber situation. I
Do
don't
you know if there's any vulgarities that day?
No.
Do you know if there's any vulgarities that night?
No, not to my knowledge.
Do you know whether or not John was trying to end the relationship with Miss Reed?
Objection.
Do you know that, sir?
No.
Next question.
Do you know if there was any jealousy in that relationship?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
I mean,
That's a good question.
she I mean,
Be honest.
Karen wouldn't let. I mean, they did everything together, a lot of things together, and
No. He just lost his credibility. Bro, just answer the question. We don't need to know all that. Just, you don't know or no. Just because they were together, don't assume that there was some jealousy. Come on, man.
I mean, I mean,
They were
Karen
together.
wouldn't let. I mean, they did everything together, a lot of things together, and I thought at times, yeah, you could see, she didn't want other women around John. I don't know, not at that, but
Thank you.
It was a terrible.
Follow-up?
That's a terrible question.
I'll see counsel at sidebar for just a minute, please.
No, another sidebar. Oh my goodness, that's 2 already. Oh man. Team under 10, we might be cooked again. Oh my gosh. Hey, listen. To all the ladies who have somebody, to all the wives in the chat, does it make you jealous if you don't like other women being around your dude? What kind of question was that? That was well, I could tell that she didn't want other women really around him. Huh? That doesn't mean she's jealous. Oh boy. Let me see. I think we had another couple more super chats in here that I didn't read. I got Peter Ortiz giving the 10 memberships up in here. Shout out to Peter. One of the few outspoken non-Team Karen folks in here. And I love that we have differing opinions on the channel too. So shout out to Peter. He said that bitch guilty. Gifted 10 memberships. Thank you for being here, Peter. I appreciate the love and the support. We've also got my guy, Mr. Browning here, dropping the 10 bomb. Appreciate you, Mr. Brown. Thank you for the 10 super chat, and hopefully you are recovering well. We're always praying for you every single day, and it's always good to see you here in the chat, making sure that you're good. My ex was very jealous of other women. Is that jealous, though? I guess the line between being jealous is being protective the same as jealousy. I don't know. Are we gonna have this conversation in the chat? I'm starting the conversation. Amy's not saying anything. I already know how she feels. John was a player, married for 18 years. Oh my goodness, Mrs. Chaplin. Congratulations. Married for 18 years. She said, no, that is not being jealous. That's just. Tanya says, no. John was a good family man, but he was definitely a ladies' man. Sounds like it. No. My ex was very jealous of other women, says Peter. If you don't like other women around your man, it's a sign of insecurity, which is usually a sign of jealousy.
Stop the cap.
Oh boy. I don't know about that one. I heard John was a big flirt and was always a ladies' man and wanting to be around. Look at Amy. Oh yeah, I did shout out to, was that Slim Life over there on, where did it go? I'm gonna find it. Over on the PayPal. Shout out to Slim Life in the building, dropping the 10 bomb over on the PayPal. Says, you and Amy are both so awesome. I love to start my day off by hanging with you and the awesome CEB family. Love, Slim Life, New Jersey. I'm not going to say your government name, Slim Life. Thank you for the 10 bomb. I appreciate the support. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. If someone can take him, he was never mine to begin with. Yeah, but I mean, if that's the case, y'all cool with y'all? Never mind. I'm not going to go that route.
May I?
Please.
I'm not jealous of another woman. I'm very content and secure with who I am, and my man ensures that as well. But I'm not fond of other women, and my man is going to respect that. I'm not jealous. If I like a person, if I feel like a person is going to cheat, they will find a way. We were a military family, so trust was a must during year-long deployments. That's true. Interesting. I think you can tell the single people and the married people in the chat. Interesting. I wouldn't want my man hanging out alone with other women. No, that's just inappropriate, in my opinion. But if he's out and there's a woman there, it's okay. I trust my man. I have no worries. Yeah, I think there's a fine line between jealousy. Is this the cell phone guy that's back in here?
Sure, you can have a seat. I'll remind you you're still in your room.
Or stand, however you're most
Yep,
comfortable
that's him.
today. Just do whatever you need to do, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, everyone.
Sir, yesterday we talked about downloading phones and making what you called extractions.
Yes.
And from that data, you could create different types of reports.
So have Detective Garino say his name again, please.
I'm sorry. Again, for the record, could you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name for the record?
Yeah. Good morning. My name is Nicholas Garino, Guarino.
Thank you.
It's a cell phone guy.
Sir, you mentioned yesterday that you downloaded a number of phones, or you were involved in the process of downloading a number of phones.
That's correct.
You explained to us that after you have the data analyzed, you can pinpoint certain items that you may want to put in a document.
Yes. So
Y'all said he was going to be back.
Extractions into a program of our choosing. Cellbrite is the most commonly used, and then we can take call logs or text messages, any information that the investigator is looking for.
When you downloaded Mr. O'Keefe's phone and you downloaded the defendant's phone, did you try to create, or did you create a report through Cellbrite, the software, that would show you all of Mr. O'Keefe's call logs?
Yes, I did.
And when I use the term call logs, what does that mean?
The call logs are the calls that the phone receives.
How do you create a report from Cellbrite? Can you just walk us through that process briefly?
Oh, please don't.
In the program,
We
you
don't
can go in
care.
and select the calls from it and export it into different formats, PDF, XML, HTML, or you can create a portable case and extract them all as a portable case that we would see on my computer.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
We got 2 sidebars, by the way.
Showing you a document of Mr. O'Keefe's call logs. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what is it?
It is the call logs. Just want to make sure it's between John O'Keefe and the defendant from, just want to see the dates, the 28th, January 28th, 2022 to January 29th, 2022.
Would this contain all the phone calls from his phone data, of the calls between those two parties that night?
Yes, that's what I created.
I'd like to move this as an exhibit, please.
Okay. So,
If I could, Your Honor, just want to compare to make sure we got the same.
okay.
Thank you, Mr. Brennan. Thank you, Mr. Brennan.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Content.
Okay.
No objection.
You captured all of the phone calls between two parties on that last document. Can you also do that with chats?
Yes, that is true.
And did you do that in this case?
Yes, I did.
Did you create a document of chats between the phones of the defendant and Mr. O'Keefe for after midnight, for the evening hours of January 29, 2002?
Yes, I did.
May I approach?
Yes.
What's up, Dennis?
You recognize that document, sir?
Yes, I do.
And can you tell us what that is?
These are the texts from the defendant to John O'Keefe. Yes.
For January 29, 2022?
Yes, that's correct. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'd move this as an exhibit, Your Honor.
Okay.
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Exhibit 24.
Did you identify or specify chat messages between John O'Keefe and a person named Jen McCabe?
Yes, I did.
All right, now we're getting into it. Here we go.
Yes, I did.
May I approach?
Yes.
Finally. Let's get into the text messages already. Since y'all wouldn't let me come up there and read the text messages. Kind of heard about that, I'm not gonna lie.
Can we have just a brief moment, please?
It's sidebar?
No.
Just the two of them?
Compare what we have.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, this is not a sidebar, all right? Just a one-on-one conversation. It does not count. We just need a little clarification, all right? This does not count.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're welcome. Sir, I'm handing you a document. Do you recognize it?
Yes. This is the text messages between John O'Keefe and Jen McCabe on 29th on January 29th, 2022.
Nope, a break is not a sidebar.
Match their data, all of their conversations.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Thank you. I move to introduce this, please, Your Honor. No objection, Your Honor.
25.
Similarly to the chats, did you do the same with calls between Mr. O'Keefe and Ms. McCabe?
Yes, I did.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Showing you a document, sir. Do you recognize that document?
That was not a sidebar. Y'all
Yes,
stop.
this is the call log between John O'Keefe and Jen McCabe for, just want to make sure I get all the dates correct, just for January 29th, 2022.
To evidence, Your Honor?
Okay.
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 26.
Did you do a file extraction and a report on all chats between the phones of John O'Keefe and the defendant for a period of time?
Yes, I did.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Handing you a document. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, this is the text messages between John O'Keefe and the defendant from January 28th to January 29th, 2022.
Thank you. Your Honor, move this into evidence.
Okay. Mr. Alessi?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Exhibit 27.
Did you have an opportunity to make a report from some of the data from the defendant's phone from January 29, 2022?
What are you referring? I did make some reports from the defendant's phone.
What's a call log report?
Again, the call log report is the calls that the party makes to another phone. So it's going to show
The party.
called or attempted to call.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to take a look at this document. Do you recognize it?
Yes.
And could you tell the jury what it is?
It's the call log from the defendant's phone for January 29th, 2022. It looks like everyone she called.
Introduce this as an exhibit, please. No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Exhibit 28.
What we just introduced into evidence is the entire call log of calls to anybody and everybody to and from for that period of time.
Yes.
That's fair to say?
Yes, that's correct.
And then can you further isolate calls between just two parties?
Yes, you can. You can search by phone number or name.
And did you do that with the defendant's records for some parties?
Yes, I did.
Did you isolate phone calls between the defendant and Ms. McCabe for the evening of January 29, 2022?
Yes, I did.
May I approach?
Yes.
Guys, take a look at this document. Do you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
It's the phone calls from the defendant and Jennifer McCabe, January 29, 2022.
What's up, Project Band Shirt?
Your Honor, then you listen to evidence, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
29.
I'll try and make this a good experience for you.
Did you isolate calls between the defendant and Ms. Roberts for the night of January 29, 22?
Yes, I did.
Can I see the last exhibit, please? Thank you, sir. I asked you to take a look at that document. Do you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
Could you share with the jury what it is?
Yep. It's the call logs between the defendant and Carrie Roberts for January 29th, 2022. Yes.
And that's a report you created?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, listen to evidence, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
We want to see the actual phone calls. What was said.
Did you have an opportunity to isolate and produce a report for all chats between the defendant and Ms. Roberts for the night of January 29, 2022?
Yes, I did.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
So I'm handing you a document. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And could you share with the jury what that is?
This is text messages between the defendant and Carrie Roberts on January 29th, 2022.
Thank you. I would move this into evidence, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay. Jurors, this is the way we have to put evidence in cases in Massachusetts, okay?
Exhibit 31.
Sir, do you have an opportunity to identify a text message or a chat between the defendant and a person by the name of Ingrid on the morning of January 29th, 2022?
Yes, I did.
May I approach?
Yes.
Take a look at this document. Do you recognize it?
Yes.
Could you tell the jury what that is?
Yes, this is a text conversation between the defendant and looks like a group chat between Ingrid Curtis and Bill Curtis.
Did you make that report?
Yes, this is on January 29, 2022.
Thank you. And move this into evidence, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Exhibit 32.
If this is a good time, if Your Honor would permit.
Okay. Jurors, what we're going to do is we will take our morning recess now, and we'll take 20 minutes to a half an hour, and we'll see you then.
Okay, 20 minutes to half an hour. We ain't bad. This does not count as a sidebar, y'all. So don't even think about it. It's just a little break. So we're going to take 20 to 30 minutes. I have a couple of things that we could look at while we're doing that. I guess we missed. Let me see if I can find this. Because apparently we missed a little bit of the hearing on Monday. I don't know when this took place, but we're going to have to get into it. Looks like things get a little bit spicy. So we might do a little bit of a rewind up here. Oh, man. Let me see what y'all are saying. This is the time to go. Rosie keeps getting me, man. I'm not reading any more of your comments. I'm not saying that in 4K. It's a smoke break. Yep. He's like Mr. Sprinkles. He comes back a lot. You have to wait a little bit after the jurors are dismissed. Ah, okay, I see. So that's where we are. So let me do this. Let me go back and see if I could find it. Law and Crime has it clipped, but I'd rather watch it over here. So let me see. This was on Monday. That's day 2. Here we go. Let's go back to day 3 or day 1 and see if I could find this hearing and what was said. Oh yeah, here we go. What were they getting so upset about? All right, let's check this out. So we're going to do a little bit of a rewind, y'all. I know, Amy. There's so much I want to say, but I'm going to let it go. Shout out to Peter reminding y'all to like the video on your way in if you could. Thank you, and shout out to all 900, almost 1,000 of y'all who are in here. 750 of y'all have liked the video. If y'all could, please take a second, like the video. Likes are free. Likes are absolutely free. It takes 1 second. Come on, y'all. All right, here we go. So this is Monday after opening statements took place and we got to hear the first witness. Carrie was up there for a minute and then they kicked her out. So apparently there was a hearing after the jury was dismissed. I got to make sure that we stick around when they're dismissed today. I'm surprised they're taking a break this early too. So let me skip ahead a little bit more. No OnlyFans today. Here we go. Trust is a must.
Please be seated, court is in session.
All right, so
There's the sigh.
I have a quick hearing on
While we're taking a break, I'm going to finish my smoothie.
paper now 682 and 680. First, Commonwealth's motion to enforce compliance with the court's April 16th, 2025 ARCA discovery order. Mr. Brennan, you said you could be brief on both of these, so I'll hear you.
Okay, here we go. ARCA, man, this seems like a really big point of contention in this trial.
On the motion for compliance, our position is that the defense did not comply with your order. This has been an ongoing issue which relates directly to the credibility of potential ARCA witnesses. This is information
They
based
do
on the
not want
history and
ARCA in there.
representations made in this case that we're entitled to. I did note before these were produced that we have watched video footage from unaired video from the documentary. We clearly knew that there were text messages and correspondence beyond what was represented to the court. It is not a surprise that I did receive these lists of text messages and calls after I made those comments. However, there is no text message content. There is 99 texts to Mr. Wolf, 6 texts to Mr. Lenschler. That does not reconcile with the past positions and representations of the defense to this court and to the Commonwealth. In addition, there are a number of phone calls. And those phone calls, again, I would suggest do not reconcile with the past representations. We have
He said they lie.
52 minutes of phone calls on 5 calls with the ARCA main line, 133 minutes, 20 calls with Dr. Wolf, 57 minutes, 23 calls with Dr. Renschler. I find it difficult to accept that these were all for scheduling purposes. We also had your Honor's order, not just for the communications, which are not a complete or a fair production, but there was a order by the court to provide all correspondence, text messages, emails, not just with Attorney Jackson, but with the entire team, including the defendant, Karen Reed, and we have received nothing. This is important because if we look at the first half of ARCA's potential testimony, which is limited to their prior report, we cannot fairly and effectively cross-examine the witnesses until we have the information we're entitled, and that's why I've also asked and suggested that ARCA should be ordered and required to provide that evidence as well, so that we can see what is there. It is concerning that there are this many texts, this many phone calls, and the fact that this is totally in contrast to what was represented in the past. So before there's even a thought of ARCA testifying, I think we're entitled to the full discovery that we asked for, the full discovery that the court has ordered. I don't see anything to do with billing or anything else beyond these text message and phone call logs. I want whatever content is available. I think it's relevant material. It's pursuant to your order, and this is woefully incomplete. Should I dive into the second motion?
Yes.
So I can move quickly. The second motion, part of it is moot in some respects. I won't go through the tortured history of discovery. We've gone through it too many times. We don't have time for it. But
I just got here and I've heard it too many times.
Played by the rules, met our discovery obligations, and as we stand here now, the defense is proposing new opinions, new testing, and they don't even have the parts of that testing yet. This is 2 weeks into trial after we picked a jury. This is at the time of the opening. It is ambush. It is unfair, and we have no ability at this point to reconcile or deal with new opinions and new information. Importantly, the defense's position is they may or may not have a report by May 1st. Our expert will be testifying somewhere at the beginning or middle of May. He is away. He is not available. And so anything we receive at the beginning of May or end of April, we'll have no opportunity to look at, vet, test, reconcile, or even engage in our own testing. This was my concern all the way back in November. I'm not Nostradamus, but this obviously was something that worried me that actually occurred. And so at this point, it would be fundamentally unfair for the defense to get a benefit for failing to comply with discovery orders by waiting until February to seek permission with ARCA. They could have called any expert, asked for any expert they wanted. They didn't. They chose this method, and this is the consequence of it. And at some point, the defense has to bear the burden of their decisions. We will not have the ability to rush through, have Dr.
Did he say beer?
Come in.
Can't tell the difference between beer and beer.
Be inadequate.
Beer.
Correspondence with him. It's simply impossible. That's why we suggested, although we certainly didn't want to move the trial date, that was the only remedy if the court was going to allow any new opinions, evidence. I say to the court that they should not be allowed to offer absolutely anything new, not only because they missed the discovery deadline. That's technical, but the reality is we're all trial lawyers. We've all tried a lot of cases. It would be a disadvantage, fundamentally unfair, and because of their own choosing. And so anything new we will not be able to reconcile. We would not be able to proceed with our expert in a fair manner. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Alessi's issue, I'm going to ask you to be as brief as you can be, please.
I find it interesting that she asked him to be brief. Here we go.
I understand your request to be as brief as possible, but this is the first opportunity the defense has had to respond to almost every allegation that's been made. We haven't had an opportunity. So I certainly respect the court and what the court's request is, but it is going to take a bit of time to put facts out. And I want to separate two categories that the Commonwealth has conflated. The Commonwealth has conflated the issue of what text messages exist, which text messages don't exist, what's been turned over pursuant to orders, and I would like that to be clear to the court factually, because the Commonwealth has misstated just now 3 times the facts.
So I asked this morning, there were 100 or so texts referenced in the exhibit, whatever was presented by you folks.
No, he came up there with the heat.
Mr. Jackson, if he provided them, because my order was clear they were to be provided, and he said no. And I asked you at sidebar whether they were deleted.
Not the sidebar.
And you said yes, in due course. I have no idea what that means, Mr. Alessi. Why don't you explain that?
Well, thank you for the opportunity to explain. Here's what it means.
Oh,
like anybody's phone, those text messages are 2 years old. They don't exist.
So can you also tell me, doesn't the aren't the ABA guidelines the counsel is supposed to keep everything in a case for 5 or 7 years?
I do not believe that is the ABA rule with regard to experts. I'm unaware of that.
In regard to your client, and this was in regard to your client's case, right?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I didn't hear you.
Records kept regard to your client's case, which these are experts that were, I mean, there's 100 text messages leading up to trial when I was told that by you that there was a pause email and then all of a sudden out of the blue a bill appeared in July. This shows that's not true, Mr. Lessie.
Your Honor, that was a different question that Your Honor asked me back then. That was about emails. That was
he's
not
mad.
about
Why is he mad?
text messages.
Have emails been provided?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
All emails have been provided. And that is why we are in compliance with all orders. And I will say also with regard to text messages, we have provided, pursuant to every order, every single text message that exists. Mr. Brennan just said, I believe there has to be more there. There's not more there, and I don't believe there can be an order of preclusion based upon the speculation of opposing counsel that there must be more.
That's kind of silly.
We affirmatively created a document, Your Honor, to be more transparent than the records, where we summarize all of the communications. Yes, we don't have the text of the text messages, but we were completely forthright and set forth every text that was made. Plus, we turned over from Ms. Little, the only other person on the defense team who communicated with ARCA, we turned over her texts and the text of her text messages. There is nothing else in existence to provide, and importantly, the defense was under no order to preserve the text of text messages.
And
we
chill out,
have
buddy.
never received, as part of discovery in this case from the Commonwealth, any communications between the Commonwealth and its several experts. That has not been what has occurred in this case. But of course, once Your Honor on Friday issued that order to provide everything, we provided everything that we had. The bottom line is, Your Honor, we've turned over absolutely everything we have, and in addition to that, we created a document so that it would be easier. We're the one who showed all of these text messages from Mr. Jackson historically. We created that document.
Dang.
There's no basis for a discovery violation. There's no basis for an order violation. We are in full compliance. So that's the prong one, Your Honor. Prong one is what Mr. Brennan has alleged is incorrect because
the text messages of the text messages.
And we did it recently and consistently. We've turned over all emails and Ms. Little's text we provided. There are no text messages in 2024, and there's no order that required those to be preserved, and there is no discovery violation because we can't be in violation of not turning over something that doesn't exist.
That's crazy. That's a crazy.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Motion.
The second part of the
That's crazy that the state is saying
Your
that.
Honor,
We think there's something
the
there.
most maddening for the defense. And this is the timeline that I can go through very, very quickly. And essentially, what the Commonwealth just argued is we will be so prejudiced that if we get the work that ARCA is underway, working on, that we will be prejudiced because we won't have enough time to address it. Your Honor, the facts show that the timeline for this has been caused by the Commonwealth, not the defense. And I can do it quickly. July 2024, the first trial concludes. November 2024, 4 months later, the Commonwealth decides to retain Aperture. Their decision to wait 4 months to retain an expert, we're the defense. We defend what the Commonwealth alleges. January 30th, 2025, 2 months after that, and 6 months after the first trial, We get an Aperture letter report that's barely discernible about what they've done. It's a 1 page and 1/4 of conclusions and opinions in outline form. Next, January 31, 2025.
I don't know why he's yelling at the judge either.
We get the initial Aperture 140 slide presentation. January 31st. February 5th, we get the case file. In February of 2000, or February 19th,
Nobody likes being called a liar,
we
though.
finally get the raw images from Aperture in the scans. That's the first time we get raw images and scans. You can't have an expert work on anything until you even get those raw images in scans. We move, and we have a hearing on March 20, 2025, to preclude Dr. Welcher because the slides are so incoherent and the report is so insubstantial. We can't tell what it is their theory is. So then on March 24th, and at that hearing, the Commonwealth agrees to redact and revise that. So we're already into March 20th. The Commonwealth agrees to redact and revise. Your Honor put the defense on a short leash. We accepted it. And by March 24, we received the PowerPoint that was of the Aperture that was supposed to have two things happen. It was supposed to be redacted, and there were certain things that were supposed to be changed. What did we get on March 24th? It wasn't redacted, and there were 3 substantive changes to it. The Commonwealth has said twice, including today, there were no substantive changes. There's 3 of them, and to the extent Your Honor wants to hear, I can detail exactly what those changes
So
were.
why don't you highlight them very quickly, because
I will, Your Honor. I can do it quickly. Thank you for the opportunity. First one,
Why
slide
does he keep
36,
limiting
they
them?
changed
That's
the
crazy.
image of 34 Fairview. No small change. 102, they changed the conclusion regarding the time that the tail light was broken. No small change. 123, they changed the image of 34 Fairview. No small change.
Dang.
So we ended up getting those changes, and I want to be clear on the date. That's March 24th. We have a hearing on March 25th. We agreed to provide our response to these revised Aperture documents. Here is the key data point. On March 26th, the defense engages ARCA. Just 2 days after we get the revised PowerPoint with 3 substantive changes. And then we started to respond and provide more information. On March 27th, we responded to the Commonwealth's revised PowerPoint and the Welch report, and then the last 2 items, we renewed our request to preclude Dr. Welcher on Delbert Lanigan grounds. April 1st, and this is another key date, the court decision allowed Dr. Welcher to testify, but also allowed the defense to re-raise objections at trial when Dr. Welcher testified. What does that timeline show? That timeline shows that the Commonwealth took 6 months from the last trial. 6 months, and the defense took merely 2 days after they got the final report of Aperture to retain ARCA. Last point I want to make, Your Honor, is the argument of the Commonwealth that we strategically waited to retain ARCA. Nothing could be further from the truth.
We know that's not true.
And has been the case with this unorthodox situation. ARCA was retained by the U.S. government. They worked pursuant to the U.S. government, and we had to get the permission of the U.S. government to retain ARCA. We moved expeditiously to do that. We got the permission from the government, and as soon as we got the permission from the government, and as soon as we got the final version of Aperture documents, including scans, we put ARCA on it. It has only been since March 24th, not even a month, have we had finally the information from Aperture, which is still inadequate. Our experts still say, with regard to what Aperture did, in some
State's not doing their
instances, they
job.
can't even figure it out because the information is so inadequate. Nonetheless, because of all the considerations we're aware of, we had ARCA proceed forthwith with post-haste. And they are working post-haste, but, Your Honor, we are the defense. That's where I started. We had to understand as best we could what Aperture did. In conclusion, 2 points. No violation whatsoever on text messages, emails, court orders. All complete, robust compliance. And with regard to the allegation
He's
that
cooking
there was
right now.
something said that there's some surprise that there were so many text messages. On June 10th, 2024, and I've got the transcript, albeit on an electronic device, right in front of me, I just got to get the passcode. Mr. Jackson read a text message right live that he had with ARCA. He read it, and here's what it said. The court, okay. Mr. Lally, so her issue is that she is available this week but not next week, so I really need to get her in on Friday. Mr. Jackson.
Hold on. Court reporter can't hear you. She asked you to stop.
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. Am I going too fast? Yes. Thank you. All righty.
He's excited, man.
Thank you. My apologies. So, Mr. Lally, so her issue is that she is available this week but not next week, so I really need to get her in on Friday. Mr. Jackson, Dr. Wolf just texted me and said, I presumed you were in court. Give me a call when you're available. The court reporter, I'm getting an interference. Mr. Jackson, I'm so sorry. The court reporter, that's okay. We have been completely transparent that there were text messages as opposed to emails. Text messages about scheduling, about other administrative matters. Mr. Brennan is completely free on cross-examination of ARCA to address every one of his speculations, every one of his suspicions, every one of the ghosts that have been created on this topic. He can address them. If he thinks that we're wrong, we're misstating, he's got the opportunity to speak to ARCA and ask those questions. Your Honor, it is
He wants them to do their job for him.
improvident to, based upon speculation, preclude the defense from putting in a defense.
I'm not making a conclusion today regarding precluding the defense.
Okay, all right. What's next?
So I need you to wrap it up because there's something I want to say.
Certainly, Your Honor. I'm going to wrap it up.
She's being very gracious.
There are no violations
he's been going for a while.
of any discovery order, no violations of this court's order, and with regard to the retaining of ARCA, because we're the defense, we acted expeditiously in response to the information we're getting, and this can be tested with ARCA, the statement I'm going to make. To this date, ARCA still has trouble understanding what it is that Aperture did and didn't do, which was the reason for my Dalbert Lanigan motion, but we proceeded nonetheless. Happy to entertain responses to any questions.
All right.
There it is.
Thank you.
Cook them.
All right. So as you all know, I previously wanted you to have a seat, Mr. Alessi.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I previously found and believe Mr. Alessi, when he was talking about the rules of professional conduct, did say, I agree, a violation of Rule 14, but not regarding the rules of conduct. At a prior hearing, I found a violation of the defense's reciprocal discovery obligations. It was clear to me, and I found that it was deliberate. This appears to me, contrary to what you've argued, Mr. Alessi, the defense is clear to me, and I Were you of my order and of the reciprocal discovery violations? We need to figure all of this out before you're allowed to call these witnesses. So I'm going to have a voir dire hearing this Friday. I know we planned on having the view.
Oh
I
my
need the ARCA
gosh.
witnesses here Friday morning. So we need a voir dire, if you intend to call them, a voir dire on all of this. And I will be sending an order for production of records. I just need to amend it for ARCA to bring all these items with them. So
That's wild, man. Oh, Bev, I don't know. I might have to boo you on that one. That's crazy. So the defense is saying basically, not only were we limited on our access to ARCA, but we needed information from the Commonwealth, from the state, to be able to get ARCA to do their job. And he's saying it was just 4 weeks ago when we got everything we needed. We've been working on it as quickly and as fast as we could, so we don't violate your orders. You gave us a very small window, and we're doing our best. And Judge Bev said, I don't care. It's a violation. Wow.
Friday will be for ARCA for a voir dire hearing in the morning.
She is not playing around.
We'll see you tomorrow for trial, Friday morning for this.
May I inquire briefly for scheduling purposes?
Yes.
In light of the hearing on Friday,
That's
will it still be half a day,
crazy.
or are we expected to call witnesses on Friday?
No, it will be, if we could do, Mr. Leslie, how long do you think this voir dire might take?
I don't have an answer for you, Your Honor, right now, because I've got to talk through ARPA, and I've got to understand what they have and what they don't have. So I think, in fairness, I think it could take some time.
All right, so no witnesses for Friday, and I think we'll give the jury the day.
And will it be a full day on Thursday?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes. All right, so we'll see you then. I will issue an order.
Wow.
Hopefully before the close of business today. Jimmy, can you stay and get this out today? Sure. Okay. All right, thank you.
What do y'all think about that, man? Alessi was up there cooking, and Bev says she don't care. Wow. She says she don't care if it's ARCA. She don't care if you need a parka. She wants those records in 5. Dang. I think this was a little bit harsh. I don't see how this is a violation, especially when the defense is making it clear that a lot is out of their hands. And they were held up not only by the Commonwealth, but by the Department of Justice, as we know, too. So let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. Dang, y'all. Was Bev being fair? They were hired by the FBI in the first trial. The defense got permission at the end of March that they could hire them directly. I mean, how are they're being held up in 2 ways? I don't know what they're supposed to do. And shout out to Dottie in the building. Amazing Grace is in here. Always good to see you in here, Grace. I hope you have an amazing day. Let's go ahead and get back into day 3, though. It looks like the smoke break is over. All right, let's get into it. Let's skip ahead a little bit. We'll have a slight delay here. There we go, y'all. We back. I know the curtains in the courtroom have been bothering me too. I don't know. I think that was a little unfair. And I wish you would have said why she made that decision. It seems like they acted in good faith. I don't know. All right, we're going to skip ahead because we don't even have any sound here. Here we go.
Raw data extract.
No, we've only got 2 sidebars. Get out of here. Good morning, James.
All right, the court, please. Jurors entering.
There have only been 2 sidebars. I'm cutting in and out. I don't know.
Back in session and may be seated.
All right, Mr. Brennan, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Just a few more items I'd like you to recognize. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Showing you an envelope. Do you know what's in that envelope?
Yes, the raw data extraction of John O'Keefe's cell phone.
Your Honor, I'd ask it to be marked simply for identification, please.
Okay.
Exhibit A, identification.
Thank you.
Second folder.
Yes, the raw data extraction of Jen McCabe's cell
Raw.
phone that I created.
Thank you, sir.
Rah.
Your Honor, I'd ask it to be marked for identification as well.
All right.
Exhibit B for identification.
Thank you.
Trooper, you shared with us that you downloaded the extraction of the phones that you identified, and you made reports based on specific identified features. For example, a conversation between two people.
Yes, well, I didn't do the extraction of Jen's phone, but I made those reports with the PDFs from the data extraction.
Relative to Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant's phones, you created a document that provided us the phone calls between them on January 29th.
Yes, that's correct.
And separately, you also provided a document that included all of the chats or text messages between John O'Keefe and the defendant on January 29th, 2022.
Yes, it also included the 28th.
Thank you.
Yes.
And in that compilation, did you put together or do you create or review a PowerPoint of those?
Yes, I did.
And what was the point of that?
Just to show the texts and calls in a chronological order, because that way you're not looking at two different documents trying to compare and contrast the calls to text messages when each is coming in.
And did you begin that PowerPoint presentation with a call at 2:16:10 on January 28, 2022?
Yes, that's correct.
And are there additional chats or text messages earlier that morning?
Yes, there's a handful starting around 9:45 a.m.
May I
Yes.
approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Handing you a folder, sir. Could you take a look at it? Let us know if you recognize what's in it.
Yes. So this is the bulk of this is the PowerPoint calls and text messages, and then at the beginning there's the messages from before 2:16 in the morning.
I'd like to introduce this as an exhibit, Your Honor.
Okay.
No objection, Your Honor.
Great. Thank you.
Exhibit 33.
With court permission, I'd ask the witness to read the text messages from the morning hours, and then we begin the PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Do you have a hard copy of those for me?
It was provided. I'll see if we have another copy if you don't have it.
All right. I have. It's in here. The pre-morning hours. The ones that we discussed at sidebar. If you don't have them,
The defense has a copy for you, Your Honor.
thank you.
Madam? I'm sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Little.
Okay, thank you.
May we
Interesting.
begin, Your Honor?
Please.
Could you first read the text messages from that morning to the jury?
Finally, we're getting to the text messages.
Apologize if I misspelled things or state things. Start time, all right. It's a little different than the format I had before.
All right, let's see.
right,
Y'all
this
let
is,
me know
from
if
Karen
I
Reed
would have done
to
a
John
better
O'Keefe.
job.
You have really hurt me this time. This was sent at 9:49:20 seconds a.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, I'm sorry, this has been an issue with me for 8 years. It physically hurts me to see everyone else in their life do things for them, and I'm forced to always be the bad guy. This was sent at 10:02:56 a.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'm not the same as everyone else. Most of the time I try to do what is healthy/smart for them. More importantly, I try to support you in what you need. You just lashed out at me and said terrible things. I don't know how you've gotten to this point with me when I'm just trying my hardest. You made your point and continue to beat me down.
It should have been
I
me
have a lot
reading
going
these.
on too. Physically, I am falling apart and trying to get answers and help. 10:09:49 a.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe. I am just your girlfriend. I am not a perfect parent. I am trying very hard and sometimes treat them - nothing like I used to. 10:46 a.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant. I know. I'm sorry for lashing out. I'm just hurting and struggle daily with them. Always feel like I'm failing at this parenting thing. I wasn't built for this. 10:14:12 a.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe. Kaylee isn't perfect, but everything wonderful about her is because of you. 12:21:36 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, an emoji is sent at 12:21:59 on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, it's true, I know she's her mother's daughter, but she wouldn't be so bright and successful if she lived with anyone else. 12:22:51 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, wow, Kristen just sent 2 back-to-back messages to not lose your faith in the kids. 12:31:28 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, or in yourself, at 12:31:41 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, there's 2 emojis sent at 12:32:06 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, no, and there's 2 emojis. Life can pick you up sometimes. Please be happy with them and put away your frustrations for the rest of the day. And be so proud of yourself, JJ. That's 12:33:35 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, that's what bothers me more than anything. Should have sent Peg's or Sarah's W-2s. We are all equal guardians. 1:18:21 p.m. on the 28th.
So they were all guardians of his sister's kids? Is that what he's saying?
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, maybe you can call someone. 1:21:55 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, like who? 1:46:42 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, what time are you coming here? 1:47:38 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, it's another emoji sent, 2:05:30 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I don't know what time, feel kind of out of it, just trying to clear my head, 2:06:07 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, he writes, okay, 2:06:25 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, text me when you guys settle in later, 2:06:44 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, sure, 2:06:58 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to, oh, and it's cut off here, sir.
Yeah. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
That must be where the, so,
Would it be helpful if I take it out of the binder for you?
I believe it, yeah, it goes to the next one, so I'll start. Yeah, sorry.
With the court's permission, we'll begin the PowerPoint.
Yes.
At your leisure.
Okay. The phone calls, text messages, and then we'll start with the first slide. This is from the defendant to John O'Keefe. I feel pretty shitty about how this morning went down. I know you said sorry, but it really stung, especially when I've been trying pretty hard lately. I feel like a loser turning around, just coming back over after everything you said. 2:16:10 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, not sure what you want me to do. I said I'm sorry and I was out of line. If you prefer to stay home, I totally get it. 2:17:16 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, things in my own life have been difficult too, you know. 2:17:33 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, I know. 2:17:40 p.m. on the 28th. At 2:17:45 p.m., the defendant calls John. The phone call is answered and they speak for 2 minutes, 22 seconds. 2:23:02 p.m., the defendant calls John. That's again answered. At 1:00, and they speak for 1 minute, 2 seconds. At 2:24:17 p.m., the defendant calls John, and the call is rejected. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, tell me if you're interested in someone else. Can't think of any other reason you've been like this. 2:25:18 p.m. on the 28th.
It's getting spicy.
From John O'Keefe to the defendant, nope. 2:25:33 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, things haven't been great between us for a while. Ever consider that? 2:26:03 p.m. on the 28th.
Oh, sounds like breakup.
At 2:28:40 p.m., the defendant calls John. That call is rejected.
Mr. Greeno, can you explain to us the difference between not answered and rejected?
Yes, so if the call is not answered, that means the call rang out and goes to voicemail. If the call is rejected, that is someone actively hitting the send to voicemail button to disable the call to stop it from ringing.
Uh-oh.
From John O'Keefe to the defendant, kids are here, not in the mood to talk. 2:29:03 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, so you're not into it anymore. That's fine, but I don't want to keep trying and you keep treating me like this. 2:29:12 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'm trying to hug and kiss you this morning and you whack me in the face with a pillow. 2:29:59 p.m. on the 28th.
Sorry, that's kind of funny.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, last night you're basically like, yeah, what about when we talk about the future? So why don't you just admit you're not into so much anymore? 2:30:23 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, not how it went down, but okay. 2:30:26 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, can you please admit your head is out of the game with us? 2:30:52 p.m. on the 28th.
I'm sorry, Nosy Rosie. I
John
shouldn't
O'Keefe
laugh.
to the defendant, sick of always arguing and fighting. It's been weekly for several months now. So yeah, I'm not as quick to jump back into being lovey-dovey as you apparently. 2:32:28 p.m. on the 28th. At 2:32:47 p.m., the defendant calls John. That call is rejected. John O'Keefe to the defendant, OMG, stop calling. 2:32:54 p.m. on the 28th.
I'm laughing because we've seen this
From
so
the
many
defendant
times.
to John O'Keefe, then why would you start with me this morning? 2:32:58 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, you're setting me up to fail. 2:33:05 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, you started a number of fights from your end. 2:33:26 p.m. on the 28th. And John O'Keefe to the defendant, I've explained it a few times already, not doing it again. 2:33:31 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, so you're not into this anymore. 2:33:41 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, not into fighting all the time, correct. 2:34:03 p.m. on the 28th.
Oh, the drama.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, if you tell me you're interested in someone else, you will never hear from me again. You can have all the space in the world. 2:34:11 p.m. on the 28th.
That's what they always say.
From John O'Keefe to the defendant, he sends an emoji. 2:34:19 p.m.
I'm sorry, y'all. Man, everybody's going to leave because I'm over here watching this play out. John rolled his eyes. John, no, that's BS. Yeah, come on, Carrie. Just tell me who it is.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, then stop starting with me. 2:34:20 p.m.
All right, I'm going to keep it together. I'm sorry, y'all. Don't leave. Don't leave. I'll grow up.
2:34:29 p.m. The defendant calls John. He rejects the call.
Answer your phone.
John O'Keefe to Karen, the defendant. I'm not answering. Stop calling.
Oh my gosh.
2:34:42 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, can you please answer after how you treated me earlier?
This is crazy.
2:34:43 p.m.
Oh, they
28th.
left. I'm sorry, y'all.
2:34:54 p.m. The defendant calls John. That's rejected. John O'Keefe to the defendant. Kaylee is right here. 2:35:02 p.m.
Oh,
on the
who's
28th.
Kaylee?
The defendant to John O'Keefe. You start a rager with me out of nowhere and then tell me you're sick of fighting with me. 2:35:41 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe. I'm going to grab a drink in a bit. 2:38:14 p.m. on the 28th.
Oh, that's his niece. Okay.
2:38:42 p.m. The defendant calls John. That call is rejected. The defendant to John O'Keefe, can you please answer? 2:38:52 p.m. on the 28th.
John said, nope. Good job, John.
From John O'Keefe to the defendant, no Karen.
Smart man.
Not sure why you need to announce that you're going, Not sure why you need to announce that you're grabbing a drink, but have fun. 2:39:46 p.m. on the 28th.
He was smart for not answering.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, seeing if you want to meet me later.
He
2:40:22 p.m.
He said, nope.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, can you please call me? 2:40:32 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, have to take them to the doctor. He has practice. 2:40:55 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yeah, 5 minutes.
It's never 5 minutes, guys.
PM on the
At 5 minutes turns into 30.
At 2:43:01 p.m., the defendant calls John. It's not answered. At 2:43:45 p.m., the defendant calls John. The call is rejected. John O'Keefe to the defendant. My father just walked in. 2:43:58 p.m. on the 28th.
Karen, he didn't want to talk to you.
The defendant to John O'Keefe. Okay, can you please call me for 2 minutes? 2:44:14 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant. Not right now. 2:44:23 p.m. on the 28th.
He said, nope.
The defendant to John O'Keefe. I'm there when anyone else needs me. 2:44:26 p.m. on the 28th.
Oh my gosh.
At 2:45:32 p.m., the defendant calls John. The call is rejected.
This is amazing.
The defendant calls Mr. O'Keefe. Yes, John, you gave me utter grief this morning. I'd like you to call me for amends. 2:46:16 p.m. on the 28th.
He's doing a good job reading these, though.
The defendant to John O'Keefe. I've been trying to get over the hump with is arguing, and now you tell me you're not into doing things, and you don't want to fight weekly, but fly off the handle at 8 a.m. with me, like you're setting me up to fail. 2:47:08 p.m.
What does she mean by that?
The defendant to John O'Keefe. I've been dealing with my own personal crisis over things I have zero control over. I'd like to lean on you too sometimes. Instead, I just hear everything I've done wrong. 2:48:34 p.m. on the 28th.
Oh, man.
At 2:56 p.m., the defendant calls John. The call is rejected. At 2:51:13 p.m., the defendant calls John. It's rejected. 2:52:37 p.m., John calls the defendant. It's not answered. At 2:53:56, the defendant calls John. Again, not answered.
Good grief.
The defendant, John O'Keefe, you seriously cannot pick up the phone for 2 seconds. 2:54:13 p.m. 2:58:05 p.m., the defendant calls John. It's rejected. At 2:59:13, John calls the defendant. The call is answered, and they speak for 4 minutes, 59 seconds.
Yo, John, man. Jesus.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, why don't you meet me at Hillside at 4:30/5, 3:08:55 p.m. John O'Keefe to the defendant sends an emoji at 3:10:08 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, or whenever you get, or whenever you get everyone settled, 3:10:35 p.m. on the 28th.
Some of y'all have been through this. Jesus. This is wild.
From John O'Keefe to the defendant, like I said, doctor now, and he has practice till 6. If you want me to go start, if you want to go start drinking,
Me too,
go
Wendy.
for it. 3:36:21 p.m. on the 28th.
Was Karen the alcoholic?
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I didn't know the times of his practice, 3:30, 6:40 p.m. on the 28th.
Did Karen have issues with alcohol? Those of y'all that know. Because why she's going out, she's about to go out to drink at 2 or 3 in the afternoon? Or is that a Boston thing? Where's Dennis at? Let me know, Dennis.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I just want to give you space at the house without me there. So rather meet you out than meet at the house. 3:37:01 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant.
They were all
now
alcoholics.
There's a 72-year-old taking up shop on my couch. 3:37:36 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe. Yeah, that too. 3:37:46 p.m.
They're all alcoholics.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, is he going to Collins? 3:38:23 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, not tonight. 3:38:32 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, so do you plan on going out tonight? 3:39:01 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, Karen, I don't know. 3:39:17
Yo,
on the 28th.
Karen was Karening on this one. She needs to chill
John
out.
O'Keefe to the defendant, you're like jonesing to drink, so go. 3:39:43 p.m. on the 28th.
Dang.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, okay, well, after how this morning went down, I don't think I need to be back over there with you. Get frustrated at how I am with the kids. Has nothing to do with drinking. 3:40 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I am paranoid now that everything I do with them is problematic. So rather see you for a minute without it, kids around. 3:40:24 p.m. on the 28th.
Karen was
From
tripping.
John O'Keefe to the defendant, what's your plan at 4:47:16 p.m. on the 28th? From the defendant to John O'Keefe, don't have one. 4:50:09 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, so still home. 4:50:26 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, yes. 4:50:45 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, we just got home, waiting to see what Papa decides here, or else I have to get Patrick at 6. 4:59:45 p.m. on the 28th.
Interesting.
The defendant, John O'Keefe, okay. 5:01:55 p.m. on the 28th.
Very embarrassing,
John
Don.
O'Keefe to the defendant, so are you staying home or coming here? 5:02:23 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, waiting to see what you end up doing. I don't want to hang out at the house too much, like I said. 5:03:40 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I think it's clear me around the kids, I think it's clear me around with the kids around is slowly killing our relationship, and our relationship is much more important to me. 5:04:16 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, well, there's a blizzard coming, so we'll be inside all weekend. 5:04:19 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, it will be over by noon tomorrow. 5:04:44 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, don't think so. 5:05:27 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, I don't want to keep having this constant conflict of the dynamic of the four of us. The harder I try, the more it kills our relationship as a couple. It feels like utter shit to be in that position. Rather just meet you out for drinks when you figure out what your night looks like. 5:06:45 p.m. on the 28th.
How long have they been
John
together
O'Keefe to
at
the
this
defendant,
point?
well, I have no idea what's going on, so do what you want. 5:07:34 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, need to figure out what everyone here is doing. All I know now is Madeline is coming over. No clue about Patrick yet, or if Papa is planning on hanging it for a few more hours. 5:09:29 p.m. on the 28th.
Couple of years? Yeah.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, okay, well, when you know the story and if you want me to come up, let me know. 5:12:36 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, No, Karen, you decide what you want to do. 5:13, 18 p.m.
Good luck with that,
28th.
John. From what I've seen, that's not gonna happen.
From the
You
defendant,
tell me
John
what you
O'Keefe.
want me to do.
I know your heart isn't in this anymore. I felt it for a while, and especially lately. I'm willing to try more, but not if you approaching the point of indifference. If you want me to come up and you can head out for a while, then say so when you know what your father is doing.
I called it. You tell me what you want to do. Boy, this is wild.
5:14:23 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, you come up and I head out, really? Emoji. 5:15:48.
I want to do what you want to do.
John O'Keefe to the defendant, I've told you already, I don't bounce back as quickly as you do after we have a battle. 5:16:52 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, no, head out together with an emoji. 5:17:49 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, or meet out. 5:17:54 on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, gonna send Patrick to Collins tonight. They're picking him up around 7. Mike may hang out too when he brings Matt over. So why don't you just come over? 5:19:42 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John
That's
O'Keefe,
right, Slim Ray.
Mike doesn't
You're
want to
on.
go out for a bit. 5:20 p.m. on the 28th.
She really wanted to go out.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I would like to, been a shit day from the jump. 5:20:33 p.m. on the 28th.
Karen liked to go out.
From John O'Keefe to the defendant, probably 5:20:39 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, I just got sober an hour ago. 5:20:56 p.m. on the 28th.
So she did go out because this is an hour later, right?
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'll text you, hang with Mike for a few.
No,
I don't-
I'll let you
I
hang out
don't
with
need
Mike
to
for a
butt
minute.
in. Text me if/when you think you may head out. 5:25:12 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, can you send me Tim Zoll's contact info, please? 5:26:38 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, I paid the last bill. 5:27:08 p.m. on the 28th. From
Who's
the defendant
Tim?
to John O'Keefe, you didn't have to do that, thanks. 5:27:43 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, are you really not going to accept my friend request? 5:32:33 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, an emoji on what, FB? 5:33:01 p.m. on the 28th.
God, this is weird.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yeah, we've been going
Okay.
out for 2 years.
Okay, 2 years and they weren't
5:33:20
friends
p.m.
on Facebook.
the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, I haven't gone on. You defriended me over a year ago, I believe. 5:33:48 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, Kerry texted that they're headed out in a bit. 6:05:29 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, okay. 6:14:55 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, she's going to let me know where. 6:17:51 p.m. on the 28th.
Karen's definitely immature, but
John
it
O'Keefe
doesn't
to the
surprise me.
defendant, so you're going to meet them 6:18:12 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, just presenting it as an option. Wouldn't mind hanging out with them for a drink. 6:19 p.m. on the 28th.
He's getting a drink. Hold on. When was that? So this was okay. 8 minutes later.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, is Mike over? 6:27:26 p.m. on the 28th. From John
Yeah, but
O'Keefe
she
to the
unfriended
defendant,
him.
Yes. 6:29:45 p.m.
Y'all are saying when you won't accept a friend request from your girlfriend, something's wrong. But she unfriended him. So what? He friended her. She unfriended him, and now he's got to friend her back. Nah, man.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, sounds
over.
you're like good with getting together tonight. 6:31:32 p.m. on the 28th.
Karen was tripping.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, was hoping after this morning you'd be interested in smoothing things over with me. 6:32:24 p.m.
Over a
on the
drink.
28th. John
Wow.
O'Keefe to the defendant, told you to come over, but you insisted on meeting me out somewhere. 6:33:44 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, Mike is a little off with me for a while now. I've said that multiple times. 6:34:34 p.m. on the 28th.
Okay.
From John O'Keefe to Karen, the defendant, time to get over it, Karen. He's fine. He was fine the other night when he came by. 6:38:09 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yeah, wouldn't mind hanging out with other people, like another female too. 6:39:09 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, where are you meeting them? 6:39:28 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I don't have plans with them. She just said they're headed out in a bit and will text when they land somewhere. 6:39:52 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, if you want to go out with Mike solo, that's fine. Just let me know. 6:40:17 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, I already told you what you should do. Not going to keep doing this. 6:41:07 p.m. on the 28th.
Should have put your phone down, John.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe,
this is too much.
I asked to let me know if you guys are going to head out. I haven't been out for drinks this week and had a shit week and a shit day. And I dread Kaylee or Pat is going to get chatty with me the second I walk in, and that is going to irritate you. 6:43:21 on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, Pat is leaving, Kay is with Mad Cam. 6:44:02 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, I'll text Chris then. 6:46:44 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, we're headed out shortly. What's your plan, Karen? 7:06:13 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, do you want me to join or no? 7:06:37 p.m. on the 28th.
Say no. Oh.
From John O'Keefe to the defendant, yes, wasn't sure if you were meeting the Currans. 7:07:04 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, they are not out drinking yet.
Well, these people were
7:07:40
drinking.
on the 28th.
Jeez.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, where are you headed? 7:09:22 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, trying to decide maybe McCarthy's. 7:14:48 p.m. on the 28th.
In their defense, this was a Friday night, though.
From
I
the
just
defendant
looked.
to John O'Keefe, okay then, let me know where you decide. I'm still down in Enfield. 7:21:50 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, text me when you leave. Still waiting on McKinney's. 7:22:28 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'm having issues with my hot water, so had to text someone to take a look. 7:24:11 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, an emoji, you trying to piss me off. 7:25:35 on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, hope your plumber buddy that you texted is hot. 7:26:24 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, nope, my shower only got lukewarm and now my sink won't run hot at all. The plumber I used is right down the road. 7:26:27 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I turned that temp thing in the basement all the way up. 7:26:52 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, check the hot water heater and see if it's leaking. 7:26:52 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, it's not. 7:26:59 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant. Don't
This is
do that.
wild.
7:27:01 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, is the pilot lit? 7:27:08 p.m. on the 28th.
Objection, relevance. Gosh, can we get to the
defendant
good,
to
back
John
to the good
O'Keefe,
stuff?
I was trying to get my shower hot. 7:27:12 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, yes. 7:27:14 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, don't turn it up. Don't turn it all the way up. 7:27:26 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, it will burn out. 7:27:32 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I had this issue twice before and it wasn't a disaster. I just can't remember what the cause was. 7:27:41 on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, just turn it back to where it was and get over here. 7:28:08 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I don't want to come home in a blizzard and then really be up shit creek. 7:28:53 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, so you're going home tonight. 7:29:18 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, or tomorrow or whenever. I've had a chill all day since my shower. 7:29:45 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, it's going to snow all day tomorrow, no driving. 7:30:05 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, we're headed to McCarthy's. 7:41:29 p.m. on the 28th.
She didn't listen.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, okay, let me know if you end up leaving. 7:41:57 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, why? Now you're not coming. 7:42:27 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'm waiting for the plumber. I actually think he's in the driveway. 7:42:56 p.m. on the 28th.
Why's she yelling?
From John O'Keefe to the defendant, we're taking Mike's car, so I'm relying on you for a ride home if he leaves. 7:43:10 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, he's not going home after. 7:43:27 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, 8 o'clock on a Friday, emoji. 7:43:31 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, he may have to get Michael. 7:43:46 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, you have a plumber coming over at 8. Knowing me and Papa could have handled it. Good luck. 7:44:36 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I have always told you I will not put either of you out of your way the way everyone else in your life does. I knew it wasn't working right when you were at the doctor's with Kaylee, and I knew neither of you could get here. And this guy Richie fixed it last time, whatever it was. He was supposed to be here at 5, 7:48:01 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, if it's not a quick fix, I'll tell him to forget it. 7:48:20 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, if you need a new water heater, don't let him do it. 7:55:04 p.m. on the 28th.
Mm-hmm.
The defendant text, is from the defendant to John O'Keefe. He's here now. If it's not quick, I'm not doing it. I just want to make sure nothing is wrong / will go wrong with when I'm not home. 7:55:44 on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, he's not a scammer. Half the quick stuff he doesn't even charge me for. 7:56:06 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, he just put the toilet seats on crooked. 7:56:28 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, status, 8:09:02 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, still here with an emoji. 8:09:18 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, said he's got to go to HD and probably be back mañana. 8:23:56 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, so 8:24:43 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, an emoji, 8:25:02 p.m. on the 28th.
An emoji?
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, just trying to figure out if I need to be here, 8:25:51 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, what does it need? 8:26:01 p.m. on the 28th.
Oh my gosh, I can't do all this texting. Just
From the
call
defendant
me.
to John O'Keefe, I don't
My
know. Show me
God.
some pieces that was all rusted. With an emoji. I don't understand half this stuff. 8:26.
All these text
42
messages
p.m.
are
on the
stressing
28th.
me out. Like, just call me, please.
John O'Keefe to the defendant on the water heater, 8:26:59 p.m. on the 28th.
Yo, do y'all really text like this?
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yes, 8:27:08 p.m. on the 28th. From
I
John
can't.
O'Keefe to the defendant, tell him to leave it. I'll take care of it Sunday or Monday, 8:28:30 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, no, it's okay. I can either meet him here or just shut off the alarm, 8:28:52 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, he used to work here while I was at work, 8:29:02 p.m. on the 28th.
This is an egregious
John
amount of
O'Keefe to the
text
defendant,
messages.
does he realize it will be whiteout conditions tomorrow a.m., 8:29:32 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yeah, but he lives right down the road, 8:29:47 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, Karen, this storm is going to be intense, can't drive, 8:30:19 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, okay, well, if he can't, he can't, 8:30:36 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, I'll do it Monday, 8:30:56 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I better not still have this problem on Monday, 8:31:22 p.m. on the 28th.
Yeah.
From John O'Keefe to the defendant, you
This
plan
is
on
crazy.
being there, 8:31:43 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'd to know I can take a hot shower there here if I need to, 8:32:14 p.m. on the 28th. Figured you'd be, from John O'Keefe to the defendant, figured you'd be in Canton till Monday, 8:32:32 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, I'm getting off my phone. Let me know what you're doing, 8:32:54 p.m.
8:32. Did he get off the phone?
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I think the four of us together is toxic to this relationship. Would like to limit it, 8:33:16 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, you said so yourself for probably a year now, 8:33:52 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, blizzard tomorrow, nobody is going anywhere, 8:33:56 p.m. on the 28th.
Thought you were getting off your
From the
phone,
defendant
John.
to John O'Keefe, maybe I'll come back late tonight. Bad snow is in the early a.m., 8:35:14 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'll head up there in a few min. Let me know if you leave, 8:35:26 p.m. on the 28th.
He said no driving.
John O'Keefe to the defendant, an emoji, he says sure, 8:35:34 p.m. on the 28th.
What is happening? This is so confusing.
That was the last of them.
Oh my God. Thank God. That was brutal. Oh my God. Yo, y'all got to tell me in the comments in the chat. Do y'all be texting like this? I couldn't. After the fourth or fifth back and forth, I'd be like, I'm going to call you later. I don't know. I can't do this. Like, it seems exhausting. This was like 7 hours they were texting back and forth. Jesus, man. Let me know, man. I can't.
We're almost done, sir.
Stressing me out.
You can feel free to stand.
Okay, thank you, Honor.
back and forth like this for 7 hours.
It's a compilation of text messages and phone calls between John O'Keefe
Good grief.
on January 28, 2022.
Yes, that was.
Aside from that compilation, are there other text messages and phone calls that you've reviewed between John O'Keefe and the defendant
Drunk
that
texting.
evening, January 28, 2002, going into past midnight, January 29, 2022?
Yes, there's more text messages.
And those text messages and phone calls, are they a separate compilation from this?
Yes, that's correct.
Sure, at this time, I'd ask us to release Trooper Gayorino and recall him at a later date.
Yes. All right. There's no objection, Mr. Alessi, correct?
No objection, subject to prevent.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much, Trooper. We'll see you another time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
See you another time. All right, there's the full testimony. How are y'all feeling about that, man? That's too much. I can't. I just can't. It does shine a little bit of light on their relationship, though. Maybe looked like things were coming to an end, or Karen didn't like how things were going. John, obviously, he seemed, pretty whatever about it, almost complacent when it came to what happened that morning, which we still don't know. Maybe we'll hear about at a later date. But Karen was definitely pushing the issue, and there's some drama going on behind the scenes. So we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. Goodness.
Is this the time for me to see counsel at sidebar? Okay.
Exhibits, Your Honor, may I?
Yes.
Your Honor,
Nope, no sidebar yet.
Exhibits or clips 7 through 11.
We got some more clips.
Thank you.
With the court's permission, could I begin with clip 7?
Yes.
And he answered a couple of those times. I doubt she was being reasonable.
When you walked out of the bar, how many drinks had you had?
I have had probably about 4, and not 4 that I completed either. I didn't drink maybe more than a few sips at the Waterfall.
And 4 drinks you felt fine to drive?
Yep.
Oh my.
Okay.
And is the level of intoxication pretty high here for everybody?
It's happy.
Give me 1 second, yeah.
You'd had a lot to drink, right?
I wouldn't say I have like a normal amount. Let's say like a vodka tonic every 40 minutes.
Okay.
Are they about to make the case for her alcohol issues?
And I'm not judging.
Sounds like Karen was drinking.
Yeah.
Clip 9, please.
The final count of my alcohol intakes, probably about 5 or 6 or 4. The drinks that they were pouring me at McCarthy's, which is where I consumed most of the alcohol, was the weakest vodka tonic. It tasted just like old soda water with lime. Not that I need it to be a martini, but it might have had a splash of vodka in it. So I said, John, this drink tastes like it has no vodka in it. He said, just get a shot and mix it yourself. So each drink was being counted as a double. So I would get a vodka tonic, and then I would pour a shot into it, so that would count as 2. But frankly, it just felt like a regular cocktail. It was just a really weak pour, so I asked for a shot. So for my taste, it just tasted like that's the normal strength of what a drink should be. So I had maybe 2 or 3 that are being counted as 4 and 6. And I don't know. I felt fine. I felt like I was buzzed. And then there was one drink, the last one that was given to me, which I would have counted as 3, but they're counting as my 6th cocktail. The guys that we were with brought around shots, and they gave me one that I didn't drink, but I poured it in my drink. So that's now my 5th and 6th drinks with the 7th, which is a shot that all the men did, and I poured it. So that one glass that I'm holding, that I go into the Waterfall with, has 3 drinks in it, a vodka tonic and 2 shots. And which is why John said to me, you're not leaving that drink here, like you haven't touched it and just poured a bunch of vodka. He's like, just take it with you, which was something he always did. So then I go into Waterfall, and I put that drink down and I socialize most of the time. So that would have been my 5th, 6th, and 7th drinks. Then John orders me a drink at the Waterfall that I don't drink, that he takes with him. And then there was a round of shots that Chris Howard bought that I did take. So that would have been the night. But I did not consume 9 vodka martinis or take 9 shots, depending on how you count it. And the last 2 drinks I didn't touch.
Clip 10, please.
I mean, I'm not as clear as I would be if I hadn't been drinking. I mean, I had drank, so, and that led me to question, like, could I have hit him? Did I run over his foot or hit him in the knee? Did I incapacitate him? I mean, I always drive with my music blasting ever since I was 16. And I know when John got out of the car to go into Fairview, I know my car was blasting because when I got in it the next morning,
oh boy, that's the wrong one.
I immediately turn it down.
My bad.
And I don't know, it's stormy. I have had a few cocktails. I didn't black out, but I wasn't as lucid as I would have been if I had gone to bed at 9 and drank a tea. But so I was fuzzier than I would have been if I had had no alcohol.
Clip 11, please.
How does I could never? That's a crazy amount of drinking. Good Lord. How'd you feel after that many drinks is the question.
I wouldn't have gotten on the expressway. I wouldn't have gotten on the expressway at 12:15 on January 29th. I mean, it was quiet. The roads were very quiet. You can see it on the videos. And I was going, you know, when I've had a few drinks and I drive, I always drive extra slow. So I know my alerts aren't as sharp as they should be. But I shouldn't have been driving. But I don't think I was driving. I know I wasn't driving recklessly. I mean, I've got plenty of video of myself driving all over the place. I put my car in John's garage, which is incredibly narrow, and I had a very oversized SUV. You see me, there's a video of me driving through the intersection when we leave Waterfall to go to Brian Albert's, and I was always taught by my father, even when you have a green light, you always should tap the brake. You don't know who's going to run red. And I see me doing that multiple times between 12 and 1 and 5 and 6 a.m. So I know I was driving safely, not as safely or as alert as I would be if I had no alcohol. But I was not driving recklessly by any measure.
Thank you.
Okay, lady.
Yes.
All right, this is sidebar number 3 officially. This lady sounds like she was an alcoholic. I'm not gonna lie. Unless this is just the culture and they drink like this and that's how it is. That is a lot of drinking. I can't believe she was saying, oh, it was 6 or 4 or 5 or 7. That's a lot. Shout out to my guy, Dr. EJ, gifting 6 memberships up in here. Thank you for the love, Dr. EJ. If y'all got a membership from Dr. EJ, please make sure you say thank you. Wow. I mean, they were drinking. Good Lord, have mercy. It's the culture, says James. Okay. And thank you to everyone. We're almost at 100% likes. Could y'all like the video, please?
Confusion with counsel regarding witnesses. So those are the witnesses for today. So we're done for today. Counsel assures me that won't happen again. But more importantly,
that's
we're
it.
On track. We're on schedule. Not going for the rest of the day. Won't interfere with our schedule at all. Looks like it's can't tell with all the curtains here, but it looks like it's a beautiful day. You'll have a nice afternoon.
There it is. We get a short day.
So for that, we're comfortable close. We'll be walking around a little bit. We'll be going by bus, and I'll have more instructions for you tomorrow morning. But please follow those instructions. Do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into this case. If you happen to see, hear, read anything about this case, please disregard it and let us know, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Sounds like the culture is a bunch of alcoholics.
All rise for the court, please.
All right, so that's it. We are done with Karen Reed for this week. Interesting. I was not expecting an early day today, but I'll take it. I will take it. Shout out to Judge Bev. Judge Bev is amazing with these schedules. All right, so no more witnesses today. We're going to be chilling. Don't talk to Jen McCabe. Yeah, so we didn't get Jen in here today. I got to change the title. Well, I'll leave the title alone. I'm surprised. Yeah, it's not even noon. No, I won't. We'll see if anything happens after the jury leaves. Y'all said don't leave. Y'all are so nice, man. Appreciate y'all.
Mr. Brennan, have you had an opportunity to think about whether experts should be permitted to either be present or watch the proceeding? And I also want to know, are you expecting to put on any expert testimony tomorrow?
Dr. Fowler will testify tomorrow. I think that should be considered expert testimony. He provides the procedures and protocol for the testing of blood serum.
Okay.
So I think he's technically considered an expert, although one of the briefer ones.
All right. Does the defense want an expert to be able to watch that? All right. So I know we've had a lot going on this morning. Do you want to address this tomorrow? When do you want to address whether experts should be present?
If I can address it tomorrow morning, I can consider
All right. We'll do that. And have you talked about who you all mean? Like, do you all know who you want to have exempt from the sequestration order?
We haven't got to that detail. I'm sure they have in mind who they want. I haven't gotten to that point yet.
All right.
We can have that discussion so that we can present to tomorrow what my position is and address the court on the witnesses.
Sure, we can do that. And then I know you said that you've got an agreement that you'll provide
no court tomorrow. They're going to the view.
Witnesses in advance to defense counsel, and I'm sure you'll provide witnesses in advance to Mr. Brennan. Include me on that, please. I just like to know who's coming up the next day because I have to prepare as well.
Happy to. Thank you.
Okay? All right. So we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Thank you again.
Tomorrow they're going to the view. So the jury does not have off tomorrow. Tomorrow they are going to the view. Judge says they're going to get everything figured out with the next witnesses, and then we should be good to go. All right. So that's it. Wow. What a day. Those text messages are interesting. Y'all saying it was a little bit of a snoozer, but hey, I enjoyed the little soap opera drama we had there for a second. I thought it was too. Remember, ClassE thought the view was the view. Hey, chill out. All right. We're looking past that. Oh man, she wanted that new pipe lay. Hey, chill. No, the view was postponed for ARCA based on Monday's hearing, but she just said we're going to be going to the view, so wear comfortable clothes. Am I?
We're comfortable clothes.
She just said that. Hold on.
Regarding witnesses. So those are the witnesses for today. So we're done for today. Counsel assures me that won't happen again, but more importantly, we're on track. We're on schedule, not going for the rest of the day. Won't interfere with our schedule at all. It looks like I can't tell with all the curtains here, but it looks like it's a beautiful day. You'll have a nice afternoon. Tomorrow we'll be going on a view. So
tomorrow they're going on the view. All right, so they're gonna be talking to Whoopi Goldberg and all the. No, I'm playing. I'm playing. So tomorrow they're going to the view. All right.
For that, we're comfortable clothes. We'll be walking around a little bit. We'll be going by bus, and I'll have more instructions for you tomorrow morning. But please follow those instructions. Do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent.
Yeah, so they're going to go to the view tomorrow. It's going to be interesting. it would be impossible for us to have someone live stream at the View because the jury's going to be walking around looking at stuff, which is unfortunate. So we're going to have our regularly scheduled program today. So all 1,100 of y'all in here, just because Karen Reed's not going to be here tomorrow, we will be here tomorrow. Probably not as early as 9, but maybe now that we're into the habit, I'll start at 9. We'll have to wait and see. Either way, if y'all haven't yet, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time that we go live or drop a new video. Y'all know I'll be dropping some clips later on throughout this afternoon. And of course, we're going to be live streaming tomorrow morning as well. Let me see what y'all are saying. Yeah, all the jurors are going on the View. Oh, Tay, you missed the text messages? Dang, you were in the gym. Hey, get it in, Tay. Don't be ashamed of that. That sounds more important. Amy says you didn't miss anything. What? Amy, that's not true. The text messages, I love that. I was sitting here with my popcorn, eating it up. What else are y'all saying? No media allowed at the View. Yeah. They're going to the scene, 34 Fairview. Going to the crime scene. I think ARC is next Friday. I love those text messages. I could go back and listen to them right now. I thought it was hilarious. Just seeing the back and forth, like, man, I could not. I'd pick up the phone and be like, Karen, don't text me. Do not call me until you're leaving. Like, we're not doing this. What is going on? Don't leave until they're completely off the record. Yeah, I got you. All right, we're done. We're done here. I thought court was tomorrow. What do y'all think of today's court proceedings? I thought it was one of the more interesting days today. We didn't get Jennifer up there, but I'm sure she's coming up soon. Kara, I want to see the house. I mean, you could probably go out there and be there by tomorrow morning. We can Google the map of the scene. Did you see the motion on Moontunk? I did. Shout out to the Fit Lawyer ATL and the Happily Angry Lawyer out there putting in work. I did. Shout out to Kat Not Williams. If y'all want to, I'm not going to cover it here because Kat already did a very amazing in-depth job of covering that Moontunk motion. So if y'all didn't see that, make sure you go check out Kat Not Williams live stream from yesterday. No. Was that yesterday or Tuesday? My days are getting mixed up. Oh, it's sad. Originally, she said the View was going to be rescheduled. They must have been an issue with scheduling. Yep. And with witnesses, remember when OJO wanted a DUI driver, so he didn't have to be a DUI driver? That's what drunk couples do? Oh, gosh. I'm glad I'll never know. The yard for 34 Fairview is small in person. The pics make the yard look huge. Interesting. I'll have to pull it up. Amy says, I personally was like, man, they both toxic as F with these text messages. It was. I'd be afraid to go to Canton and get hit by a drunk driver. That's a concern. I mean, at 3 o'clock, she's like, yeah, I just got done drinking. Even on a Friday. God dang, Karen. Lots of cops drinking and driving that night that we know about. What about the ones we don't know about? Short as ever. House is big and the flagpole area is a little sus. He got hit by some fist in a car. I'm just saying. Yes, yesterday, Kat is my OG. Kat is the truth. Y'all make sure you go subscribe to Kat Not Williams. And subscribe to Amy's too. Y'all might not know, Amy has a YouTube channel. Absolutely killing it. I love Amy's channel. Like it's very enjoyable and interesting to watch. So y'all go check it out. Yes, I agree. Very toxic. The city even has a subway tunnel that goes 90 feet below the Earth's surface. Wow. Shout out to Canton. I'm not going out there though. I'm good. I'm good on Canton, so we won't be taking a field trip there. All right, y'all. Appreciate the love. Thank you to 100% of y'all that liked the video. So much love, so much support. I appreciate it. Big shout out to all the super chats too. We had oh, hold on. I got to show respect to our PayPal family. Let me see. Where is it? There it is. Shout out to Slim Life, New Jersey up in here. My guy Les Cleaver. We had Peter Ortiz with the 10 memberships, Dr. EJ with 6, Mr. Brown over there, and then Mary Sella going crazy and dropping the 50 bomb and gifting 5 memberships. I appreciate y'all for showing up, continuing to show up and show support. We will be back here tomorrow for our regularly scheduled program. Y'all know I'll have tons of news to report on you because this world is crazy. And my prediction is that ESPN is going to put out a statement tomorrow about Shannon Sharpe. We'll have to wait and see. We might have some updates there. Y'all have a great rest of your afternoon. And as always, you know what to do. Keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gone. Peace. Wow.